Chapter 55. Their legs were muddy and bloodstained after being plucked. Their original harmonious spirit cultivation had fallen below the 5th level of vein opening. After plucking 15 female cultivators, Ning Fan broke through to the late harmonious spirit realm without even needing to take the rising spirit Dan. His original plan to concoct the scorching spirit Dan was also dispelled. A few of the 15 women were crying. Even evil cultivators were sad about losing their virginity. A few of them were rather unyielding. Their eyes were filled with hatred. As for the rest of them, they were either looking at Ning Fan with complicated gazes or some of them were filled with affection. However, no one spoke. The scene was very quiet. No matter what mood they were in, all of them wanted to know how Ning Fan would deal with them. They were originally human cauldrons and would eventually be plucked by others. But if they were plucked by their original master, Old Devil Purpleine, they would have a good ending even if their cultivation was greatly damaged. But now, 15 of them were plucked by Ning Fan, who was his enemy. Now that they had lost their cultivation, they no longer had any value to him. Perhaps, they would be killed. I hate you. A woman named Jiang Qiner, who looked a little sickly, looked at Ning Fan with resentment. Humph, kill me if you want. A woman named Wu Macho had a heroic spirit in her eyes, as if she wasn't afraid of death. Her slightly trembling body showed that she wasn't as brave as she looked. Lang Jun, if my daughter serves you, can you spare my life? Said a girl named Bai Jie. Her breasts were still pink and her eyes were watery. She seemed to be unsatisfied after being plucked by Ning Fan. 3 types of women, 3 types of reactions. No matter which type, none of them were willing to die. But Ning Fan's eyes were cold towards the 3 types of women. Although it was cold, there was no killing intent. From today onwards, all of you belong to me, but only as human cauldrons. However, if you are obedient, I won't kill you and won't send you to your death. Ning Fan's words were cold, but the 15 women heaved a sigh of relief when they heard it. At least, they didn't have to die. The way they looked at Ning Fan more or less contained a trace of gratitude. Without their primordial yin and cultivation, they were worthless as human cauldrons. Compared to those devil lords who threw them away after playing with them, Ning Fan at least left them a way out. When they thought about it again, they realized that they were the ones who wanted to kill Ning Fan in the first place. As his enemies, it was already very commendable that Ning Fan only plucked them without killing all of them. Next, I will plant a restrictive spell on all of you. You will stay in my magical treasure space and cultivate temporarily. If you are obedient, it is not impossible for you to cultivate back to the harmonious spirit realm. Perhaps, you will have a chance to form your gold core in this life. Yes, Master can spare our lives, so what if it's just a restriction? Regardless of whether the women thought so or not, their answers were quite unanimous. However, in their hearts, all of them were shocked. They were shocked that Ning Fan actually knew the sense restriction spell that only the ancient powers knew. After being taught a lesson by Si Wuxia, Ning Fan no longer dared to erase the memories of the women. Otherwise, if they were to rely on him like Si Wuxia, it would be hard to tell if he could still be cruel to them. Using the restrictive spell to control the death of the women without erasing their memories might be a better method for the cauldron. His cultivation broke through to the late harmonious spirit realm, and his spirit sense naturally reached the peak of harmonious spirit realm. Ning Fan released his spirit sense into the women's sea of consciousness and planted the restrictive spell on them. Then, he waved the cauldron ring and kept them inside. This time, the 15 women appeared in a larger space with red mist in the cauldron ring. There were flowers, grasses, mountains, rivers, and jade palaces. All of them were formed by the red mist. This was the first time they entered the cauldron ring with a clear mind. They never thought that there would be such a magical treasure space in this world. Rumor has it that there was a heavenly dwelling magical treasure in the ancient times. The space inside could accommodate living beings and could evolve into a boundless world. It was a rare treasure. However, that was only a legend. The spatial magical treasures in the cultivation world were pitifully small and couldn't be used by people. What is the master's origin? He is only a harmonious spirit cultivator, but he has a legendary heavenly dwelling magical treasure. The women were surprised. The red mist in front of them was obviously very helpful to their cultivation. Cultivating in the red mist was several times faster than cultivating in the outside world. The joyous union iron was a divine material that was lost in the ancient times. It was definitely a great fortune for Ning Fan to obtain it by chance and use it to refine a heavenly dwelling magical treasure like the cauldron ring. Whether they loved or hated Ning Fan or had ulterior motives, after seeing the mysterious cauldron ring, no one had any hostility towards Ning Fan. Even if they had hostility, they would hide it deeply. I will stay here for the time being. Since I have become Master's Cauldron, I will have to adapt to this identity. These 15 women were just the beginning. After dispersing the grand formation, Ning Fan closed his eyes and stood beside the stream. Life didn't give him a choice. Ever since he obtained the yin-yang transformation, his evil identity couldn't be written down. Perhaps one day, he would be condemned by thousands of people and be cursed by tens of thousands of people. Perhaps one day, all the women in the 4 heavens and 9 worlds would show fear and disgust after hearing Ning Fan's name. No matter what I become, Jihe won't despise me. Master won't hate me. Perhaps, Si Wuxia and Lan Mei won't either. Rubbing his forehead, he suppressed all the distracting thoughts. Suddenly, he opened his eyes. There was a flash of light in his eyes. There wasn't a trace of dispiritedness in them anymore. Since I am a devil, I will be a true devil that the heavens and earth fear. Next, I will go to the second region. With a leap, his body turned into an icy rainbow and went straight to the second region. After flying for 30 li, he stopped and saw layers of black mist in front of him. Vaguely, there was a spatial force circulating in the mist. According to the map, the second region of the demon sinister forest was inside the mist. Because of the spatial force of the formation, the space inside the mist was at least a few thousand li, which was much smaller than the first region. Inside the mist, there were nearly 10,000 harmonious spirit ghost chi that sent chills down Ning Fan's spine. Among the 10,000 ghost chi, there were hundreds of chi that gave Ning Fan a vague sense of danger. Peak harmonious spirit. There were at least hundreds of peak harmonious spirit ghosts in the second region. If Ning Fan hadn't broken through to the late harmonious spirit realm, it would have been extremely dangerous for him to enter the second region. He took a deep breath and stepped into the black mist. With a flash of light, he was teleported to a world that was as red as blood. The place he was at now was a gloomy blood-red peach forest. As soon as he appeared, he saw an early harmonious spirit ghost. It had the body of a woman, but it had a green face and sharp fangs. It was still a ghost head. A harmonious spirit ghost could transform into a human form, but it couldn't completely transform yet. It still had the characteristics of a ghost. Once a ghost broke through to the gold core realm, it could even transform into a human form like a beautiful female ghost. It could bewitch the common people and devour their yang essence. An early harmonious spirit ghost wasn't a threat to Ning Fan. He opened his mouth and the starlight sword shadow flew out. The separation slayer penetrated the ghost's body and burned it into nothingness. After withdrawing the sword shadow, Ning Fan reached out his hand and took out a sense bead from the destroyed haunted house. It was still the size of a finger and had a trace of blood-red color. Its spirit sense was more than 10 times stronger than the vein-opening sense bead. Ning Fan's eyes lit up. It seemed like coming to the second region was the right choice. In the second region, not only could he sharpen his strength through life and death battles, he could also obtain sense beads to increase his spirit sense to a terrifying level. Gold core spirit sense is probably enough for me to break through. I wonder how many sense beads I need to devour to break through to the nascent soul spirit sense realm. If someone was here and heard Ning Fan's words, they would surely be shocked. Ning Fan wanted to break through to the nascent soul spirit sense realm in the demon sinister forest. Once he succeeded, no one in the entire Yu country would be able to surpass him in terms of spirit sense. However, Ning Fan didn't know that his action of killing an early harmonious spirit ghost had earned him 100 contribution points. This had shocked the sinister Sparrow sect, revered by Enlon Mei. He activated his spirit equipment to hide himself and carefully hunted the ghosts in the second region. As for the Merit Hall, his contribution points were increasing at a frightening speed. Look, Ning Fan's contribution points increased again. It has broken through 2,154 points. Doesn't this mean that he has killed 14 early harmonious spirit ghosts? How is this possible? Even an intermediate harmonious spirit expert like me can't kill an early harmonious spirit ghost so easily. Elder Meng Chu stared at the Merit Monument. He had been guarding the monument for 200 years and he had never felt this unbelievable. 2,354 points. He actually killed an intermediate harmonious spirit ghost. One of the female deacons exclaimed in astonishment. But it was far from over. 2554, 2754, 2954 Ning Fan's contribution points were unstoppable. In just half an hour, his contribution points had increased several times. At this moment, all the elders who were below the intermediate harmonious spirit realm sucked in a breath of cold air. If Ning Fan could kill an intermediate harmonious spirit ghost in a row, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill them. Revered Bai Fading's face darkened while Bai was holding his breath in disbelief. He was only an early harmonious spirit expert, but Ning Fan could kill an intermediate ghost as if it was child's play. What was the benefit of offending Ning Fan? Why did he have to go against him? Outside the Merit Hall, Lon Mei anxiously dragged Sinister Sparrow into the hall. Dad, please help us to enter the demon sinister forest and bring Ning Fan out of the second region. Heh, since when did my Mei become so interested in a man? Don't worry, Ning Fan is Han Yuanji's disciple after all. He is a schemer. If he dares to enter the second region, he must be confident. Sinister Sparrow said so, but his eyes fell on the Merit Monument. He couldn't help but feel surprised. He knew that from the harmonious spirit realm onwards, the intelligence of the ghosts would increase. In a place like the demon sinister forest, the magical power of the ghosts seemed to be enhanced. It wasn't easy for a harmonious spirit cultivator to defeat a ghost of the same realm. Not to mention killing it. Ning Fan, on the other hand, continued to kill the ghosts without any rest or time to recover his magical power. After his contribution points reached 4,154 points, Ning Fan seemed to have rested for a day as his contribution points stopped increasing. However, Sinister Sparrow had a vague feeling that Ning Fan was recovering to his peak condition and was going to do something shocking. If he can kill a late harmonious spirit ghost, he will become a heaven's pride. Sinister Sparrow touched his chin and his expression gradually turned solemn. Based on his understanding of Ning Fan, he knew that Ning Fan was going to do something big since he took a day to recover his physical strength. He guessed that Ning Fan was going to kill a late harmonious spirit ghost, but the fact was far beyond his expectation. Ning Fan's contribution points, which had been untouched for a day, suddenly jumped by a large margin. From 4,154 points, it had increased to 5,154 points. It was a total increase of 1,000 contribution points. 1,000 points could only be obtained by killing a peak harmonious spirit ghost. Impossible. Even I can't kill a peak harmonious spirit ghost. How could this brat kill one with his harmonious spirit cultivation? Bai Fading couldn't sit still anymore. For the first time in his life, he felt that he had underestimated Ning Fan. Will this brat kill a gold core cultivator? Will he enter the third region? Bai Fading's white eyebrows knitted together. An absurd thought gradually emerged in his mind. Chapter 57. Then, the white bone demon monarch's angry roar was heard. Meiji, How dare you seal your cultivation and escape to a low-grade formation? But do you really think that I have no way to deal with you? White Bone Dao, Broken Bone Soldiers. With a loud rumble, the White Bone Demon Monarch shattered one of its ribs. That rib instantly turned into a Void Refinement Realm Bone Demon and chased after the woman. Do you think you can escape from me if you don't hand over the Emperor's Soul Remnant Scroll? As long as you don't leave the demon's sinister forest, you have nowhere to run. If this void fragmentation battle were to spread, the whole Rain Immortal world would be shocked. After all, the White Bone Demon Monarch's true strength wasn't any weaker than Moksha Emperor of the Devil World. Ning Fan didn't know about this at all. It should be said that with his weak cultivation, he wouldn't be able to participate in the feud between void fragmentation experts. In just half a day, Ning Fan had concocted a cauldron of pills. The moment he opened the cauldron, the fragrance of pills filled the air. There were almost 100 golden pills in the cauldron. At this moment, Bing Ling and Yu Ling were both shocked. Even a third revolution pill master couldn't concoct 100 second revolution pills in one cauldron. Could it be that Ning Fan was a fourth revolution pill master? Ning Fan himself was shocked when he saw that there were 100 pills in one cauldron of pills. He had put 100 sets of ingredients into the Dan fragmentation cauldron. With his fourth revolution pill concoction technique, he would be a laughing stock if he concocted the second revolution pills one by one. When he was in 7 Apricot City, he concocted the third revolution Sun Moon pill at the same time. However, he used a few hundred sets of ingredients that day, so the success rate wasn't high. If it was before he entered the demon's sinister forest, he would be lucky if he could concoct 80 soul-nourishing pills out of 100 sets of ingredients. But now, he didn't fail in concocting a second revolution pill, so he was surprised. But after thinking for a while, he understood why his success rate was so high. Firstly, he had broken through to the late harmonious spirit realm, so his magical power had increased tremendously. Secondly, his spirit sense had reached the peak of harmonious spirit realm, so he could control his concoction fire more easily. Enhancing one's divine sense might not be able to directly enhance one's combat power, but it would definitely be of great help to one's perception, alchemy, and craftsmanship. He took a deep breath and put away the elixir. He put away the Dan fragmentation cauldron and swallowed the soul-nourishing elixir. Under the nourishment of the soul-nourishing elixir, he swallowed the sense beads to refine his soul power. Bing Ling and Yu Ling had no idea what prayer beads were. After all, they had never entered the demon's sinister forest before. However, they could tell that the divine sense contained within the beads was extremely powerful. An ordinary cultivator's body would not be able to withstand the soul power backlash. Only Ning Fan's body refinement realm with silver light could consume one or two of them. In the past, the experts of Sinister Sparrow sect who entered the demon's sinister forest didn't dare to consume the sense bead even if they discovered its magical properties. 1 bead, 2 beads. After consuming the 10th sense bead, Ning Fan's spirit sense had broken through the limit of false core realm. He was only a sliver away from breaking through to gold core spirit sense. His sea of consciousness gradually turned golden. A golden sea of consciousness could only be possessed by a core formation old monster. Holding the last sense bead in his hand, it was from a peak harmonious spirit ghost. He took a deep breath and swallowed it without hesitation. All of a sudden, a violent spirit sense force exploded in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness, causing his face to turn pale in an instant. Blood flowed out from his mouth and nose. His face was filled with shock. A peak harmonious spirit sense bead and a late harmonious spirit one were two completely different concepts. Unless his sea of consciousness was as strong as a gold core cultivator, he wouldn't be able to withstand the backlash of the sense bead. Without hesitation, Ning Fan grabbed a handful of soul-nourishing elixirs and swallowed them like a cow chewing on a peony. It was definitely a waste to consume soul-nourishing elixirs like this. He was afraid that he wouldn't even be able to use half of its medicinal power, but Ning Fan couldn't afford to be frugal. After swallowing more than 10 soul-nourishing elixirs, Bing Ling and Yu Ling couldn't close their mouths. The two girls had never seen such a domineering way of consuming elixirs. Even old devil Purple Een only consumed second revolution elixirs one by one and slowly refined them. More than 10 second revolution elixirs dissolved in his body at the same time. Ning Fan's yin yang evil veins felt a swelling pain, but his eyes revealed a ruthless expression. As if a layer of membrane was broken, there was a soul-shattering pain in his sea of consciousness. However, this pain that was enough to make a gold-core old devil pale only made the veins on his forehead bulge. There was no other reaction. What kind of pain could compare to the second Jade Royal Dan? After that day of pain cleansing, there was nothing that could make Ning Fan's cry out. "Break through for me!" He roared and channeled his spirit sense towards his sea of consciousness, forcing it to be absorbed by the sea of consciousness. The violent spirit sense entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness and gradually calmed down. A tyrannical spirit sense pressure shot out from Ning Fan's eyes and swept across 100 zhang radius, as if it was real. Early gold core spirit sense. After withdrawing his spirit sense, Ning Fan's robe was already soaked with sweat. His robe was torn beyond recognition. He took off his robe in front of the two girls and changed into a white robe. He then put on a black cloak, which coincided with the two words yin and yang. After changing his robe, Ning Fan's immediately sat cross-legged without saying a word and focused on stabilizing his spirit sense. The spirit sense that had just broken through was still unstable. If it wasn't stable, it wouldn't be strange for it to fall back to harmonious spirit sense. He actually broke through to gold core spirit sense at harmonious spirit realm. Yu Ling's beautiful eyes revealed shock. She didn't care about Ning Fan's naked act. On the other hand, Bing Ling already knew that Ning Fan's could break through to gold core spirit sense, but she didn't expect Ning Fan's to be so daring to change his clothes in front of the two girls. The two sisters, on the other hand, had completely different personalities. "Congratulations, Master, for breaking through to the next level of spirit sense." The two girls' soft congratulatory voice sounded. It didn't matter if it was sincere or not, what needed to be said had to be said. However, Ning Fan's mind was focused on stabilizing his spirit sense and didn't have the time to care about the two girls. Or perhaps, his mind was guarding the top of his head and couldn't hear anything from the outside world. The two girls respectfully stepped back to avoid disturbing Ning Fan's and guarded him carefully. The strength of his spirit sense had already reached early gold core at the age of 17. The two girls had a trace of sincere admiration for Ning Fan's. They even started to believe that Ning Fan's would surpass Purple Een Old Devil in the future. After all, Purple Een Old Devil's spirit sense would only reach early gold core at the age of 200. It was self-evident that Ning Fan's aptitude was far superior to Purple Een. Perhaps it wasn't a bad thing to follow Ning Fan's. "Sister, what should we do in the future?" Yu Ling asked quietly. "What else can we do? Since we have already recognized our master as a slave, we can only accept it even if we become his cauldron. At this moment, we will protect our master." While Bing Ling was speaking, the entire spirit realm grand formation suddenly shook. No, it wasn't the grand formation that shook, but the entire second region of the demon sinister forest. A small black sable covered in blood leaped into the formation, completely ignoring the defense of the spirit realm grand formation. The two girls' expressions changed. They held their swords and slashed at the small sable, but the small sable leaped and dodged their attacks. That small sable had such a fast speed. Moreover, it seemed to have the magical power of an early harmonious spirit cultivator. However, due to its severe injuries, its magical power was unstable. The small sable seemed to be holding something in its mouth. Its beastly eyes carried the charm of a woman. The small sable didn't even look at the two gold core female cultivators. Its eyes fell on Ning Fan's, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation. It revealed a look of despair and instinctively jumped into Ning Fan's arms. Then, it fainted and no longer had the strength to run. Black blood flowed out from the wounds all over its body, staining the robe that Ning Fan's had just changed into. Fortunately, the sable was focused on escaping and didn't have any hostility towards Ning Fan's. Otherwise, if it bit Ning Fan's spirit sense would be unstable and fall from the gold core realm. This small sable is a yellow spring sable. Legend has it that it only lives in the netherworld. It can eat ghosts to nourish its strength. I didn't think that there would be such a demonic beast in this world. The two girls felt guilty. They were two gold core cultivators, but they couldn't stop a mere harmonious spirit demonic beast, allowing it to enter the grand formation and fall into Ning Fan's arms. Fortunately, the sable didn't disturb Ning Fan's spirit sense. Otherwise, the two girls wouldn't be able to absolve themselves from the blame. Not long after the small sable entered the grand formation, the sound of mountains collapsing and the earth cracking came from afar. A white bone devil that was more than 10 zhang tall rumbled towards them. Each step it took would cause the earth to shake. His devilish roar sent chills down the spines of countless harmonious spirit ghosts. This ghost was only at the peak of harmonious spirit realm, but it seemed harder to deal with than a gold core old devil. And its devil roar could subdue nearly 10,000 ghosts. What was the identity of this white bone devil? The white bone devil seemed to have followed the yellow spring sable all the way here. When it saw the spirit grand formation, it revealed a sneer. Meiji, you are seriously injured and on the verge of death. If you continue to seal your cultivation and run towards the first region, perhaps I won't be able to catch up. I didn't think that you would hide in a mere spirit grand formation. Aren't you looking down on me? Break. The white bone devil pointed its finger and the cave collapsed. The 100 zhang spirit grand formation was shattered. Bing Ling and Yu Ling were shocked. Even an early gold core old devil couldn't break a spirit grand formation with just one finger. Sister, you go and protect master. I will deal with this devil. We must delay him until he wakes up. Bing Ling gritted her teeth. Ning Fan's mental seal was planted in her body. Her life and death were tied together with Ning Fan's. How could she watch Ning Fan's die? She didn't have time to think about why the devil appeared and why it attacked the grand formation. There was only one thought in her mind, and that was to stop the devil from attacking Ning Fan's. She was a gold core expert. Even if she couldn't kill the devil, it shouldn't be hard for her to stop it. Dan transformation technique, falling ice water arrow. She took out a small blue arrow and blew a mouthful of Dan Qi. The small arrow, which was a middle-grade and early-stage magic treasure, turned into thousands of icy arrows in the air and shot towards the white bone devil. This rain of arrows might not be enough to hurt a gold core expert, but it was more than enough to kill a harmonious spirit expert. However, when the arrows hit the devil's body, there was a clear sound of metal colliding. None of the arrows could break the defense of the devil's skeletal body. Bing Ling's beautiful face turned pale. She realized that she had underestimated the devil. As for the devil, it was startled when it saw the two delicate gold core female cultivators. Then, it revealed a sneer. Gold core human, I haven't tasted such delicious food for a long time. How nostalgic. The giant demon smiled and pointed out with a finger. A dignified low-grade magic treasure actually exploded. Then, he pressed down with another finger and sent Bing Ling flying. She coughed up blood and fell to the ground. She had lost half of her life, and she fainted. Sister. Tears fell from Yu Ling's eyes. She stood up angrily, but the devil laughed and pointed its finger again. It was about to hurt Yu Ling. As for Yu Ling, she closed her eyes in pain. She held the sword in her hand horizontally. She was determined to fight the devil. Bitter, too bitter. So living was such a painful thing. She was captured into the devil's sect when she was young. She became a human cauldron when she was young. Then, she fell into the enemy's hands and was planted with a mental seal. Yu Ling could endure all the sufferings. But if her sister died, what was the point of living? Smelly devil, I will kill you. Yu Ling was always so impulsive and willful. At the moment of her death, Ning Fans, who was sitting cross-legged, finally stabilized his spirit sense. He looked at the unconscious Sable in his arms and frowned. Then, he looked at Bing Ling, who was severely injured, Yu Ling, who was risking her life, and the arrogant devil. His eyes turned cold. He didn't expect that a ghost would come and cause trouble while he was in seclusion. Where did this devil come from? How dare you hurt my human cauldron? The icy light under his feet moved. He soared into the sky and held Yu Ling's slender waist with one hand while his other hand was shrouded in silver light. He threw a punch at the devil's iron fist. Boom! The powerful force of the collision spread out. The plants within 100 zhang radius were instantly razed to the ground. After the two fists collided, Ning Fan fell to the ground and stood in front of the unconscious Bing Ling. His eyes were slightly shocked. His fist was badly mutilated by the white bone devil. This devil has such a strong physical body. How could there be such a powerful devil in the second region? As for the white bone devil, it was the first time that his eyes flashed with surprise since he entered the second region. He didn't expect that the weak young man in front of him could block his finger with a late harmonious spirit cultivation. Chapter 58. Although the white bone devil in front of him was only a peak harmonious spirit expert, it had a kind of condensed qi. Under that qi, the void within a radius of 1,000 zhang vaguely fluctuated and cracked. The blood-red mist within 1,000 zhang seemed to be locked by the qi of the devil and couldn't move. The more Ning Fan looked at the devil, the more shocked he was. Even with his immortal emperor-level murderous intent, he felt a little uncomfortable facing the devil. Void fragmentation. Almost in an instant, two words flashed in Ning Fan's mind and his face turned ugly. Why would he encounter a void fragmentation ghost in the second region? Although this ghost's qi was as strong as a void fragmentation ghost, it didn't conceal its magical power. It was indeed a peak harmonious spirit expert. That's right, the cultivation of the ghosts in the Nine land was restricted by the formation. High-level ghosts couldn't break into the low-level formation. Perhaps this devil was a void fragmentation old monster of a high-level formation. It used some kind of divine ability to break into the low-level formation for some purpose. Perhaps it was a seal, an incarnation, or some other means. Thinking of this, the shock in Ning Fan's eyes gradually receded. Although there was still fear, there was no longer a trace of fear. As long as this devil didn't come with its true body, it might be possible to kill it. Ning Fan's eyes changed from shock to fear, then to calmness and battle intent. The white bone devil's eyes narrowed when it saw the change in Ning Fan's expression. This kid was afraid of me at first because he saw through my void fragmentation identity. Then, he stopped because he saw that I wasn't the true body. This kid's cultivation isn't high, but his eyesight is amazing. He might be hiding something. I can't underestimate him. Almost at the same time, the devil and Ning Fan realized that the other party wasn't a kind person. At the next moment, both of them used their strongest technique at the same time. White Bone Dao, Dance of the Early Fern. Sword transformation into fire. Ning Fan shook the cauldron ring and kept the two girls inside. At the same time, he stepped on an icy rainbow and soared into the sky. He held the unconscious little Sable in one hand and slashed at the devil. However, the Separation Slayer couldn't break through the white bone defense. On the other hand, the rebounding force made Ning Fan's thumb and forefinger numb. In the next instant, the giant demon fiercely stomped his foot, causing the earth to violently tremble. Tens of thousands of bone spikes that were as sharp as spears and halberds shot out from the ruins. They were like ferns in full bloom, rising into the sky and piercing thousands of feet, as if they wanted to pierce through the heavens. Each of the bone spikes could easily pierce through an early mid-grade armor. Ning Fan's back felt a chill, and he activated the stealth headband without hesitation, but it disappeared without a trace. The countless bone spikes seemed to have lost their target and didn't know where to stab. Ning Fan dodged the attack, but a dozen innocent harmonious spirit ghosts on the ground were drawn into the range of the bone spikes and were annihilated. Invisibility spiritual equipment, Insignificant skill. Roar. The giant devil's eyes were filled with disdain. It let out a strange roar. The sound wave was so strong that it created ripples in heaven and earth wherever it passed. When Ning Fan's body was hit by the ripples, his expression changed. Although this bone devil's cultivation was only at the peak of harmonious spirit realm, its magical abilities were incomparable to his. Even though he was at the late harmonious spirit realm, he only had a few techniques that couldn't deal with many situations. As for the bone devil, when it saw that Ning Fan's techniques were ordinary, its fear weakened. It waved its giant palm and slapped Ning Fan back to the ground. "Put down the yellow spring sable and I will let you go." The giant demon sneered with boundless arrogance, but he had the qualification to be arrogant. In the demon's sinister forest, he was already a peak-level ghost emperor. Who could be his enemy? To be honest, Ning Fan really didn't want to provoke a giant demon ghost in the trial. If the giant demon didn't injure Bing Ling, Ning Fan might be willing to put down the yellow spring sable to reduce the trouble. However, the giant demon's finger had injured Bing Ling. Ning Fan didn't have a good impression of Bing Ling, but she was injured because of protecting him. If she didn't risk her life to stop the giant demon, he was afraid that he would be the one injured. His eyes turned cold. He waved his palm and took out a brand new scabbard to contain little Dugu's second sword chi. This sword chi could only be comprehended by a gold core cultivator. Fortunately, he had broken through to the gold core spirit sense realm, so it wouldn't be difficult for him to comprehend the sword chi. Moreover, the body refining realm with the silver light was enough to withstand the sword chi. Ning Fan wanted to draw out this sword chi and use it to break the giant demon's physical defense. There was no doubt that the giant demon was a ghost. Ghosts were soul bodies, but he had cultivated a skeletal body and used white bones to wrap his soul body to protect his body from harm. As long as he could break the giant demon's white bone defense, the Separation Slayer's soul-burning ability would be more than enough to incinerate the harmonious spirit divine soul of the giant demon. He crushed the scabbard with his palm. A disgusting sword intent that reeked of blood spread out from Ning Fan's body. Dugu's first sword was to transform the sword into fire. The mysterious part was the transformation of the sword chi and the fire spirit, which contained the essence of materialization. Dugu's second sword was to use killing as a sword. The person who comprehended this sword must first have a heart as hard as stone, otherwise, he would be devoured by the killing intent. Secondly, he must accumulate killing intent in the endless slaughter. Thirdly, he needed to cultivate diligently in order to completely master it. Ning Fan had both a heart of stone and killing intent. The only thing he lacked was diligent cultivation. But even if it was his first time using it, it was more than enough to break the defense of the harmonious spirit giant demon's skeletal body. The moment Ning Fan crushed the scabbard, the white bone demon's eyes twitched in shock. The Sword Ancestor's secret sword. Who are you to the Sword Ancestor? The white bone demon was a void fragmentation expert and a ghost emperor, but because of a mere gold core sword chi, it recalled an extremely horrifying memory. In the memory, it seemed to be a distant ancient time. There was an awe-inspiring woman who used the long sword in her hand to slaughter countless gods and devils. If I break my sword, there will be no martial arts in this world. Then, the fear turned into a twisted hatred. The young man in front of him could use the secret sword, so he might be that person's descendant. The reason why he died and was planted in the land of Nine Een and raised as a ghost was all because of that woman. I want to kill her descendant. Kill, kill, kill. The giant demon's eyes turned from dark green to blood red. A crazed killing intent rose in his heart. However, Ning Fan turned a blind eye to all of this. His left hand was holding the unconscious small sable while his right hand was holding the starlight sword shadow. His eyes were closed and his heart was immersed in the blood-red sword chi. Ning Fan didn't know who the sword ancestor was and whether he was the ancestor of the little girl Dugu. He only saw white bones in the blood-red sword chi. He held the sword and stood in the sea of blood while facing a woman whose face couldn't be seen. She coldly wielded the sword and killed all the gods and devils. These exquisite scenes turned into a small poem in Ning Fan's heart. White bones like a mountain, forgetting the surname, it's none other than the young master and Hong Zhuang, the woman with the red makeup, young master Xiao Mo, and one sword out of the dust, 10,000 withered bones. At this moment, Ning Fan opened his eyes. Without uttering a single word, he stepped on the icy light and pointed his sword chi at the top of the 10 zhang tall giant devil's head with a ray of starlight. The second sword. White bones like a mountain. Under this sword, the giant demon felt a trace of danger for the first time. This sense of danger made him even crazier. He almost forgot his original purpose of coming here, which was to catch a small sable. He gathered all of his magical power at the tip of his finger and fiercely pressed the white-boned finger towards Ning Fan. This finger was enough to kill an early gold core expert, but why would Ning Fan be afraid? Ning Fan's murderous intent turned into a blood-red light at the tip of the separation slayer. The light was very faint, but it carried a trace of sword intent that even gold core experts feared. It fiercely stabbed the giant demon's fingertip. A huge force traveled along the separation slayer to Ning Fan's chest, breaking a few of his ribs and causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. After swallowing the sweet blood, Ning Fan pushed the separation slayer into the giant demon's body. As soon as the blood came into contact with the giant demon's finger, a bloody hole was formed. This scene was out of the giant demon's expectation. It was as if a bucket of ice water was poured on his head, clearing his mind. The bone body that was strong enough to withstand an early gold core attack was broken. The fearless Ning Fan in front of him was like a mad dog that would make anyone afraid. What happened next was even more unexpected to the giant demon. A blazing heat flowed through the gap in the giant finger, wrapping around the giant demon's soul body that was hidden in the valley. It turned into an invisible flame that began to fiercely burn the ghost soul. At this moment, the giant demon showed a horrified expression for the first time. He couldn't believe his eyes. A shrill scream rose to the sky. The scream made all the ghosts in the second region cry out. At the same time, in the seventh region of the demon's sinister forest, a 10,000 zhang tall bone demon felt that his clone was killed. He let out a furious roar. My clone was killed. Which ghost is so bold to kill my clone in the demon's sinister forest? Find out who the culprit is and tear him into pieces. Also, we must not let that old hag Mei Ji escape from the demon's sinister forest. Mobilize all the ghosts in the demon's sinister forest to seal the first 7 regions. Kill all the outsiders without mercy. Chapter 59. The entire demon's sinister forest had become extremely dangerous because of Bone Sovereign's order. Unknowingly, Ning Fan had offended the supreme figures of the demon's sinister forest. The entire giant demon's soul was incinerated, leaving behind only a giant skeleton that was dozens of feet tall. A single sword strike cut through the void fragmentation realm. Even though it was only a harmonious spirit avatar of a void fragmentation old devil, Ning Fan was still excited. The other party was a void fragmentation old monster with a peak harmonious spirit cultivation base. His knowledge, magical power and means were not any weaker than his ancient chaos memories. But he still won. For the first time, confidence rose in his heart. If he had a void fragmentation realm cultivation base, he would not be afraid of Wuxia Sovereign at all. Even if he had the strength of a peak void refinement realm cultivator, he would also dare to challenge Wuxia Sovereign. Void fragmentation realm experts were not invincible. He opened his mouth to swallow the sword and landed on the ground. He looked at the huge white skeleton with a strange light in his eyes. This white bone was a rare treasure. Now that Ning Fan took a closer look at it, he could see that it was a piece of rib bone of a void fragmentation expert. It was extraordinarily hard. It was only because a small piece of white bone had transformed into a giant body that the density of the white bone had decreased and lost its power. His eyes flickered as he pointed his finger at the white skeleton giant. The huge skeleton slowly turned into a piece of white bone the size of a thumb, sparkling and translucent like jade. It was just a piece of white bone, but its hardness was countless times stronger than before. Even if a nascent soul cultivator used all his means, he still wouldn't be able to break this small piece of white bone. This white bone was perfect for refining the Separation Slayer. Separation Slayer used Gengjin as its blade, Thunder Silver as its tip, and Earth Steel as its bones. The sword bones of the Earth Steel were obviously not as sturdy as the white bones of the Void Fragmentation realm. If he could refine the Earth Steel and fuse it with the Void Fragmentation white bone, Ning Fan was confident that his Separation Slayer would become a mid-grade magical treasure. Once a primordial mystical weapon broke through to middle grade, other than training and slaying enemies, there would be a brand new advancement method, Spirit Devouring. The Spirit of Mountain Devouring, the Spirit of Sea Devouring, the Spirit of Earth Vein Devouring. The spirits of heaven and earth were all forged into my sword. Only then can it be called an immemorial divine weapon. Ning Fan smiled faintly and kept the small white bone into his storage pouch. Now was not the time to reforge the Separation Slayer. The most important thing was to recover from his injuries. Ning Fan's injuries were definitely not light after taking on Bone Devil's attack head-on. Bing Ling's injuries were even more serious. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. Bing Ling was injured because of him, but he could not bear to watch her die. It wouldn't be too difficult to save Bing Ling, but his relationship with Bing Ling would become inexplicable again. Let's take it one step at a time. Let's go back into secluded meditation. This time, I'll set up a core level formation. I can't be stingy with immortal jade anymore. If such a powerful devil appeared again, without a core level array formation, it would be extremely dangerous. This time, I'll be in seclusion for at least 3 days. It looks like I won't be able to get any contribution points for the next 3 days. Ning Fan took out the jade plate and casually glanced at it. At the next moment, his face was filled with astonishment. He saw that the contribution points on the contribution jade plate were no longer 5,154, but 200,5154. If Ning Fan's eyesight was not blurred, his contribution points would have increased by 2 million points. Why did killing a peak harmonious spirit giant devil increase his contribution points by 2 million points? Just as he was puzzled, he saw that his sect contribution points flashed and changed to 5,154 points. Then, with another flash, it changed to 6,154 points. He shook his head. It seemed like the registration of the 2 million points was wrong. He stopped thinking about it and began to use tens of thousands of immortal jade to lock the formation eye and draw the formation diagram with his spirit sense. Along the entire stream, he set up a large formation that stretched for tens of li. It was much easier to set up the formation with gold core spirit sense. But was there really a mistake in the jade plate? There was no mistake in the registration of the jade plate. That white bone devil was a clone created by Bone Sovereign using the ability turning broken bones into soldiers. When the clone was first summoned, it was indeed an early void refinement expert. It chased after Meiji into the 6th region. After that, Meiji sealed her own cultivation base and fled to the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd region. The clone also sealed his own cultivation base until he reached the harmonious spirit realm and chased after her to the 2nd region. An early void refinement ghost was worth 2 million contribution points. However, no one knew about this. Only the sect masters of Sinister Sparrow sect knew something about it. In the Merit Palace, Ning Fan's contribution points increased by 2 million points. The whole sect was dumbfounded. The highest contribution points recorded in Sinister Sparrow sect was only a peak gold core ghost which was worth 15,000 contribution points. A higher level ghost that reached the nascent soul realm was the Ghost King. No one had ever killed one before. No one knew why Ning Fan's contribution points increased by 2 million points. This was simply a joke. What level of ghost did he need to kill to get 2 million points? There must be something wrong with the Merit Monument. Sigh, after using it for so many generations, there's bound to be something wrong. Elder Meng Chu's forehead was covered in sweat because many people were pointing at him, thinking that it was his fault for not looking after the Merit Monument properly. 2 million contribution points. How is this possible? If this Ning Fan can really get 2 million contribution points, I will give my position of revered white to him. Bai Feiding's eyes were filled with displeasure. He only had 97 million contribution points and was ranked 5th in the sect. But just now, Ning Fan's contribution points had exceeded 2 million, pushing him down to the 6th place. Bai Feiding's face turned pale. He had risked his life to accumulate contribution points for hundreds of years, but now he was being outdone by Ning Fan. What a joke. There's something wrong with the Merit Monument. Bai Feiding firmly believed it. The other elders also thought the same. I bet that there's something wrong with the Merit Monument. If there's nothing wrong with it, I'll use my dick to walk. A bare-chested burly man laughed, disapproving of the Merit Monument. People always took things that they couldn't understand for granted. When mortals said that there were no ghosts in this world, cultivators sneered. When cultivators said that there were no true immortals in this world, the immortals of the four heavens sneered. Sect Master, please correct the Merit Monument. Bai Feiding cupped his fists and bowed to Sinister Sparrow. The other elders followed suit. Seeing that Ning Fan had picked up a great bargain and gained 2 million contribution points in just a few days, his merit points had entered the top 5 of the sect. Who wouldn't be jealous? Who would be convinced? Only Sinister Sparrow knew that the Merit Monument wouldn't make a mistake. It was made by the old ancestor of the upper world, Kei Shensi, using his great divine ability to keep it in the next world. It had been used for millions of years and had never made a mistake. But if the Merit Monument wasn't wrong, Sinister Sparrow couldn't imagine what level of ghost Ning Fan had killed in the demon Sinister Forest. Every sect master had some understanding of the forbidden area of the demon Sinister Forest. They knew that there were ghosts that were beyond the nascent soul and spirit severing realm. 2 million contribution points. If it's not a spirit severing ghost, then it must be a void refinement ghost. What has Ning Fan done in the demon Sinister Forest? Can't he just let us worry about him? He hasn't even officially entered the sect yet. Sinister Sparrow didn't tell anyone about this. He just acted according to everyone's wishes and changed Ning Fan's contribution points on the Merit Monument. He changed 200-5154 to 6154. That was all. However, Sinister Sparrow couldn't be as calm as he looked. He suddenly felt that letting Ning Fan enter the demon Sinister Forest was a huge mistake. This kid might cause some big trouble in the demon Sinister Forest. Hopefully, he wouldn't touch any secrets. Otherwise, that kid wouldn't be able to come back even if he had 10 lives. What a troublesome kid. I'm afraid that he has more secrets than Han Yuanji. Sinister Sparrow heaved a long sigh. He felt that he couldn't see through Ning Fan anymore. There wasn't any batch of outer sect disciples that attracted so much attention and caused so much worry. Sinister Sparrow held his forehead helplessly. His head was swelling. Chapter 61. After a whole day, Ning Fan carefully connected the bones of Bing Ling. Bing Ling had yet to wake up, and Yu Ling was beside the stream, letting Bing Ling rest on her lap, carefully watching over him. Outside the light barrier of the formation, there were nearly 1,000 harmonious spirit ghosts blocking the way. Their cries made Yu Ling shiver. Her expression was complicated as she secretly glanced at Ning Fan, who was sitting cross-legged in the distance. Only then could she feel a little relieved. 3 days later, Ning Fan's injuries were completely healed under the effect of the 3 Void Essence Dawn. At this moment, there was a heavily injured and unconscious black sable on his lap, and his palm was holding a piece of broken black jade. His palm was gently stroking the sable's body. Yu Ling didn't know that Ning Fan liked small animals. It really looks like air hay before. Ning Fan looked at the little black sable, but what appeared in his mind was a simple and honest big black dog. Unfortunately, that big black dog was killed by a young master of the Ning clan in Hai Ning one day. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a rare trace of sadness, but it quickly concealed itself. If one asked the little black sable and the big black dog, which were 2 completely different species, what Ning Fan would say was the look in their eyes. On a dead end, a look with nowhere to run. Because of this look, Ning Fan used a Void Essence Dan and gave it to the little sable, making its injuries much better. A harmonious spirit demonic beast, with my strength, I am qualified to adopt it. He murmured to himself. His voice was very soft, but Yu Ling still heard it. Suddenly, her heart felt extremely unbalanced. She just thought that Ning Fan was kind to her sister, but now, she found that Ning Fan's attitude towards small animals was much better than his attitude towards her. Thinking of the Ning clan, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold, but soon, the coldness faded and turned into a trace of helplessness. Ning clan in Hai Ning. He might go back once in the near future, but the thought of destroying the Ning clan had already faded. If he went back, he would only kill the people who framed him. After all, the Ning clan was also his home. Home was a luxurious word for cultivators. The change of state of mind was actually a kind of sublimation. Cultivators had the world as their home, but it could also be said that they had no home. He stopped thinking about it and looked at the black jade again. He stared at the black jade with a puzzled expression. In his dantian, the yin-yang locket trembled slightly. This was a piece of ancient jade. In ancient Chaos's memories, it seemed to have been mentioned once. It was called the primordial spirit crystal. Occasionally, there would be ancient immortals who would plant their divine will within it to pass down their cultivation techniques or record their cultivation experiences. This jade stone had some traces of damage, as if it had been split into 2. The reason the yellow spring sable was being chased by the white bone devil was most likely because of this jade stone. However, when Ning Fan tried to read the information on the jade with his spirit sense, it was repelled the moment his spirit sense touched the jade. Unable to read. Was it because his divine will was not strong enough, or did he need a special method to read the jade? Ning Fan remained silent. He tried a few other secret techniques that used his spirit sense but none of them worked. He shook his head. It seemed like his luck wasn't good enough and he couldn't obtain this inheritance. At this moment, the little sable who had been unconscious for 3 days suddenly moved. It turned its body and opened its eyes. It let out a yawn and curled up a few times in Ning Fan's arms. But immediately, its lazy eyes were filled with fear and dread. She found out that she was sleeping in the arms of a strange human and her body was being caressed and played by the human. Stinky man, you are courting death. Her eyes revealed the shame and anger of a woman. It seemed like she wanted to shout and scold Ning Fan. However, it was a pity that she was only a demonic beast. Her cries had become weak beastly cries of woo-woo and ao-ao. This yellow spring sable was the void fragmentation female demon who fought with Bone Sovereign. At this moment, she revealed a look of disbelief because Ning Fan's hands were too bold. He stroked her back, touched her buttocks, flicked her head, touched her lower abdomen, and drew circles on her chest. Shameless. I am the monarch of Demon Sinister Forest, Mei Ji. How dare you humiliate me like this? Mei Ji revealed a resentful look. Although her injuries had healed, her body was still weak. She couldn't get rid of Ning Fan's hands and could only let him do whatever he wanted. She really thought too highly of herself. No matter how shameless Ning Fan was, he wouldn't fall for a little sable. He wasn't Yuchi. Why would he do all kinds of pleasurable things with kittens and puppies? Huh. You are awake, little black. Ning Fan smiled softly and put down the black jade. He held the sable in his arms and gently stroked her soft fur. All of a sudden, Meiji was filled with anger. She was a dignified void fragmentation female demon, but she was called Little Black by this stinky man. What did he think she was? A domestic spirit beast? Meiji struggled slightly but couldn't get rid of Ning Fan's arms. Her eyes suddenly fell on the black jade on the ground. Her face lit up with excitement. Emperor Soul Remnant Scroll. That's great. This item wasn't taken back by Bone Sovereign. At this moment, she regained her senses and began to think. She was running for her life. At that time, she thought that there was no way to escape. In her daze, she saw a grand formation and jumped into it. She didn't know what happened after that. Wasn't she being chased by Bone Sovereign's clone? Why didn't she die? Why didn't she lose the black jade? Could it be that this stinky man in front of her defeated Bone Sovereign? Impossible. Bone Sovereign was an invincible existence in the same realm. How could a peak harmonious spirit clone be defeated by a mere late harmonious spirit Ning Fan? Stinky brat, give me back the black jade and I will spare your life. Meiji's threatening eyes looked at Ning Fan. The murderous intent in her eyes was automatically ignored by Ning Fan. Ning Fan was a human. A human couldn't understand the little sable's beastly cry. He was naturally very happy to see the little sable awake. He channeled his magical power through his fingers and gently guided her magical power. Don't move. Your injuries haven't fully healed. Currently, Ning Fan's yin-yang evil veins had completed the spirit ascension of 100 veins. Even if he didn't deliberately use the yin plucking finger, the yin-yang magical power had a trace of bewitching effect. It circulated inside the little sable's body, making her feel more and more strange. After all, she was a woman, wasn't she? Let me go. You are not allowed to touch here. If you dare touch here, I will fight you to the death. Her words of resistance were not understood by Ning Fan. His fingers didn't stop. Gradually, a warm feeling filled her body, making her feel so comfortable that she wanted to sleep. Ning Fan's massage technique was too superb. Her two small front claws gently scratched Ning Fan's arm. Her two legs were comfortably kicking. A trace of pleading gradually appeared in her demonic eyes. Little rascal, let me go. I promise I won't kill you. I beg you. The little sable's body softened and lost the strength to resist. She could only let Ning Fan massage her. The hidden injuries in her body were gradually healed under Ning Fan's magical power. However, at the next moment, something beyond Ning Fan's expectations happened. A warm current flowed out from the little sable's crotch, dirtying Ning Fan's clothes. This little guy, could it be you are a female sable? How come after touching you a few times, you are leaking? Ning Fan's didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He pulled open the little sable's legs to take a look. Sure enough, he didn't notice it before. After Ning Fan pulled open her legs to check, every part of her body was exposed. The little sable even had the thought of dying. How could this be? My first time is gone just like that. Humiliation, what a humiliation. She was the dignified Meiji, a void fragmentation third-layer expert, yet she was wantonly played by a harmonious spirit junior. Little Black, you have to be obedient. You mustn't dirty master's clothes. Ning Fan said in a serious tone. Obedient your sister, I will fight you to the death. The exposed Meiji powerlessly bit Ning Fan's finger. She couldn't even bite through the skin like a spirit beast acting coquettishly to its master. Ning Fan's did not notice that the moment the little sable woke up, an innate and invisible pressure spread out. The harmonious spirit ghosts that gathered outside the grand formation all fled in fright. It was as if the little sable that was wantonly played by Ning Fan's was a terrifying existence to them. Chapter 62. Ning Fan was carrying the small sable like a cold killer in the second region, reaping the lives of ghosts and hunting for sense beads. Unknowingly, the harmonious spirit ghosts were frightened and couldn't exert 20 to 30% of their true strength while carrying the small sable. Ning Fan was slightly puzzled, but he could only attribute this strange phenomenon to the small sable's identity as a yellow spring sable. In 5 days, he had killed more than 300 harmonious spirit ghosts. His separation slayer had advanced to a low-rank high-rank magical treasure, and Ning Fan had harvested 122 harmonious spirit sense beads. He believed that if he could completely refine these sense beads, his spirit sense would easily break through to intermediate gold core realm. And the gold core sword chi he had just comprehended, White Bone Mountain. He was gradually getting more and more proficient in the slaughter. With a point of the sword, the ground under Ning Fan's feet would have shadows of white bone spreading, extremely strange. As for his contribution points, it had reached a terrifying number. 124,954 points. He was ranked 74th on the merit scale of Sinister Sparrow sect. Ning Fan's contribution points had been shocking Sinister Sparrow sect for half a month. At this moment, in the Merit Palace, countless experts were staring at the Merit Stele, not daring to breathe loudly. Look, Ning Fan's contribution points have increased by 200 points consecutively. He must have killed 2 intermediate harmonious spirit ghosts at the same time. Another 1,000 points, another peak harmonious spirit ghost was killed. In half a month, he gained more than 120,000 points and killed at least 300 harmonious spirit ghosts. I'm afraid that Ning Fan wouldn't lose even if he were to fight against a gold core expert. In half a month, Ning Fan's reputation not only spread in Sinister Sparrow sect, but also in the entire Yu country. Many sects that were eyeing Sinister Sparrow sect received a piece of news. A heaven-defying intermediate harmonious spirit expert named Ning Fan had appeared in Sinister Sparrow sect. In half a month, he killed more than 300 harmonious spirit ghosts. This news was enough to make harmonious spirit experts tremble in fear, and intermediate gold core experts couldn't sit still. Even an intermediate gold core expert wouldn't be able to easily kill so many harmonious spirit ghosts. In order to kill harmonious spirit ghosts like cutting vegetables, one must at least have a peak gold core cultivation. 7 Apricot City's Han Yuanji's disciple and Ning City's Black Devil Ning's grandson. The title of harmonious spirit killer was given to Ning Fans by some gold core old devils. Some old monsters even asserted that Ning Fan was the #1 cultivator below the gold core realm in Yu country. Old monsters came to Sinister Sparrow sect to see the merit and virtue monument in an endless stream. In the end, those below the harmonious spirit realm were not qualified to enter the merit and virtue hall of Sinister Sparrow sect because there were too many people inside. Yan Zhuoyan's gaze was extremely complicated. Based on the speed at which Ning Fan was accumulating contribution points, he would probably surpass 200,000 contribution points after a month and surpass me. The merit that he had accumulated for more than 10 years could not be compared to Ning Fan's 1 month of hard work. This was hard for Yan Zhuoyan to accept, and his fear towards Ning Fan's deepened. Back then in 7 Apricot City, leaving in time and not offending this person was the wisest thing I, Yan Zhuoyan, have done in my life. Each of the harmonious spirit experts looked at Ning Fan's skyrocketing merit and revealed a look of fear. A harmonious spirit old monster was considered an expert in Yu country, but in front of a young man like Ning Fan's, he couldn't even withstand a single blow. The ones with the most complicated expressions were Bai Fading and Bai Bai. The old man couldn't get along with the old devil. The little guy couldn't see eye to eye with Ning Fan. Unfortunately, the old man couldn't win against the old devil and the little one couldn't win against Ning Fan. This was a fact that was already set in stone. Now, the thing that Bai Feiting couldn't accept the most was that he actually had a trace of fear towards Ning Fan in his heart. An intermediate gold core old monster was afraid of an intermediate harmonious spirit junior. This matter was too abnormal. As for the arrogant Bai Feiting, it was even more difficult for him to accept this matter. In the merit hall, the one who was the happiest about Ning Fan's fame was Miss Lan Mei. Although she didn't smile, her eyes had never left the merit steel. Every time the merit steel flashed, she knew that Ning Fan was still safe and sound. Initially, she was worried that Ning Fan would be courting death by entering the second region, but now it seemed like her worry was unnecessary. Moreover, there was also someone from Extreme Een Gate in the merit hall, old monster GMO. His eyes flashed. There was shock and coldness in his old eyes. I didn't expect this Ning Fan to have such strength. Could it be that he was the one who caused the loss of the old ancestors' cauldron? If this is the case, I'm afraid that Black Devil Ning of Ning City has already started to hate our Extreme Een Gate. This matter needs to be reported to the old ancestor. Rising to fame was the most suitable word to describe Ning Fan. However, if Ning Fan knew that he had obtained the title of Harmonious Spirit Killer, he wouldn't dare to accept it. After all, he was a late harmonious spirit expert with the Separation Slayer sword that had the soul-burning divine ability. Moreover, he had the mysterious small sable that deterred the ghosts from unleashing their full strength. Under the deterrence of the small sable, even a peak harmonious spirit ghost could only exert the strength of an intermediate harmonious spirit ghost. It was a piece of cake for him to kill them. Killing more than 300 harmonious spirit beasts sounded shocking, but it wasn't difficult to do it in reality. Ning Fan's robe was tattered and stained with blood, making him look like a beggar. After 5 days of killing, he had consumed all the pills that could restore his magical power. But to be cautious, he didn't pursue the ghosts anymore. He returned to the stream Grand Formation and took a bath in the stream. Yu Ling had already set up a fire to roast the immortal fish while waiting for Ning Fan's return. Her sister, Bing Ling, had already woken up. After hearing about how Ning Fan saved her, her gaze towards Ning Fan was still cold, but with a trace of complexity. "Sister, where should we go in the future?" Yu Ling asked the same question again, but this time, her mentality was very different. "I don't know." Bing Ling's mind was in a mess and couldn't give an answer. After returning to the formation, Ning Fan ignored the small sable's dissatisfaction and held her in his arms to take a bath. Kittens and puppies always hate bathing. Ning Fan smiled while looking at the struggling small sable in his arms. He didn't know that the reason why the small sable was struggling wasn't because she hated bathing, but because she didn't want to be with a naked man. "I will never forgive you." The small sable let out a helpless cry. No one could understand her threat. After a bath, they changed into new clothes. 3 people and the sable sat around the fire, eating the roasted fish. Except for Ning Fan, who was completely focused, the 2 women and the sable had a very complicated expression. "When will you return to the cauldron ring?" Ning Fan asked lightly. "Don't you want to see us sisters?" Bing Ling gritted her teeth. If it was before, she wouldn't want to stay with Ning Fan for a second longer, but now, she had a strange feeling of reluctance. "No, but I have decided to enter the 3rd region after my seclusion. There will be gold core ghosts there. At that time, I'm afraid I won't be able to protect myself and take care of you too. You two will be a hindrance. You don't need to explain. You are the master. We will listen to whatever you say." Bing Ling said so, but her heart felt warm. Ning Fan didn't hate the 2 of them, but he cared about them. However, this Ning Fan didn't seem to know how to coax women. If he cared about them, then so be it. Why did he have to say that they were a hindrance? In the bonfire, Ning Fan's calm smile was imprinted in Bing Ling's eyes. Was he an enemy or a master? The two girls returned to the cauldron ring and stayed with the 15 harmonious spirit female cultivators. Ning Fan hesitated about how to deal with the two girls. He couldn't harden his heart to pluck them. But he wouldn't let the two girls go for the time being. He didn't want to expose the fact that he had captured the girls. He didn't want to fall out with Extreme Eam Gate for the time being. Although he knew that this matter couldn't be concealed for too long. If I have the strength of a gold core, perhaps I won't be afraid of Extreme Eam Gate. He held the small sable in his arms and sat cross-legged. He split the ground with his sword to draw out the earth fire and began to concoct dawn. One by one, he threw the herbs into the Dan fragmentation cauldron. This time, he decided to concoct 200 soul nourishing dawn at the same time. The early gold core spirit sense had greatly improved his concoction technique. He believed that he could concoct 200 second revolution dawn at the same time. Even if it was the fourth revolution nascent formation Dan, Ning Fan was confident that he could concoct two of them at the same time with an extremely high success rate. His skillful concoction technique fell into the eyes of the small sable in his arms and slowly turned into shock. Within 5 days, Ning Fan killed 300 harmonious spirit ghosts. His invincible image had been imprinted in the small sable's mind, but the small sable didn't think that Ning Fan, at such a young age, had already reached the fourth revolution in Dan refinement. Moreover, this brat seemed to have a lot of herbs. His bulging storage pouch even emitted the fragrance of countless thousand-years-old herbs. The small sable subconsciously licked her lips with a fiery gaze. If I consume his herbs, it won't be difficult to remove the seal and restore my cultivation. She took advantage of the time when Ning Fan's concoction to escape from his arms and quietly crawled towards the storage pouch. However, Ning Fan's neck grabbed her and pulled her back. "Little Black, don't make a fuss. If you make a fuss again, I will plant a restrictive spell on you." Ning Fan slightly frowned. "What? If you dare to plant a mental seal on me, I'm so scared." The small sable wanted to say some harsh words, but her body began to tremble. She couldn't imagine how tragic it would be if she, a void fragmentation expert, was planted with a restrictive spell by Ning Fan's. She obediently stuck out her tongue and gently licked the back of Ning Fan's hand like many demon pets to please Ning Fan's. Ning Fan revealed a gentle smile when he saw that the small sable was much more obedient. "That's a good girl. When my spirit sense breaks through to intermediate gold core realm, I will bring you to the third region to meet those gold core ghosts." After hearing Ning Fan's words, the small sable looked like she was about to cry. "Don't. I am only an early harmonious spirit expert. If I enter the third region, I will be minced into mincemeat by the Bone Sovereign subordinates. Don't go." The dignified void fragmentation princess was so anxious that she was about to cry. The fragrance of pills came out from the Dan fragmentation cauldron. The day of Dan completion was not far away. 3 days later, a tyrannical spirit sense was sent out from the grand formation of mountain and stream trekking, sweeping across 200 li of the forest. All the ghosts that were scanned by the spirit sense revealed a fearful expression. Intermediate gold core. With an intermediate gold core spirit sense, Ning Fan's spirit sense reached the intensity of the black jade for the first time. This is the remnant volume of the Emperor Soul. He was shocked. Chapter 63. In the four heavens immortal world, there were 4 great inheritances: chaotic heavens, void heavens, Brahma heavens and D heavens. The Emperor's soul remnant scroll in front of him was one of the inheritances of D heavens. Ning Fan's spirit sense went into the black jade. Suddenly, a cold chill spread into his sea of consciousness like a fishing net. Ning Fan's expression changed drastically when the cold chill invaded his sea of consciousness, but he quickly calmed himself down. This cold chill was harmless. On the contrary, it was the spirit sense that was stored in the black jade, which was used to inherit secret techniques. Divine Art Chant, an ancient divine Tao technique, a lost fiend god technique? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that the Black Jade would inherit a fiend god secret technique. Some fiend god techniques could strengthen one's physical body, allowing one to transform into a giant and move mountains and seas. Some strengthened one's magical power, allowing one to destroy the world and cover the sky with a flick of a finger. However, the fiend god technique in front of him was a secret technique that strengthened one's spirit sense. In the cultivation world, spirit sense could be used to sense, concoct pills and refine weapons, but it didn't have any direct destructive power. Once this divine art chant was cultivated, one could turn the world upside down, shatter the vault of heaven, suppress immortals and Buddhas, and kill people without bloodshed. A blade of grass could cut the sky, a single thought could shatter the sun and cover the sky. Ning Fan's expression turned serious. He carefully integrated the cold chill into his sea of consciousness and the information of the cultivation technique into his mind. His expression was sometimes smiling, sometimes frowning, sometimes gloomy, and sometimes worried. It was extremely complicated. After a long time, he murmured. 8 Divine Art Chant, the famous technique of immortal Emperor Tai Chang under the command of Heavenly Venerable D. There are 8 styles in total. After cultivating this technique, the power of one's divine soul will increase day by day. It can be used to attack, defend, and kill. If I can obtain all 8 styles and cultivate it for 10,000 years, there won't be anyone in the 4 heavens and 9 worlds that I can't defeat. Unfortunately, there are only 3 styles in this remnant scroll. He heaved a deep sigh and kept the black jade that had lost all of its magical power. His mind was recalling the information of the divine art chant. The first style of divine art, false art chant. It used the power of spirit sense to conceal one's cultivation base and change one's appearance. No one could see through the disguise unless their spirit sense was stronger than oneself. This technique was very useful for killing and escaping, but to cultivate it, one needed to consume an ancient spirit herb called the spirit refining grass, which had already been lost. Only by borrowing its medicinal power could one obtain the ability to disguise one's divine will. What a good, false spirit art! If I could learn this art, I wouldn't need Cece to act as Black Devil Ning. Once my spirit sense breaks through to the peak of Gold Core Realm, who would be able to see through my disguise? It's a pity that spirit refining grass is rare in Rain Immortal World. The second style of the divine psyche art, defensive psyche art. It used the power of the divine psyche to form a tangible defensive shield. The stronger one's divine will was, the stronger the attack one could defend against. This technique was used to save one's life, and its defense was extremely terrifying. The only flaw was that it placed a huge burden on one's divine sense. If one's divine sense wasn't strong enough, it would probably take a long time before they could use it again. In order to cultivate this technique, one needed to devour the artifact spirit of a defensive magic treasure. Magical treasures with artifact spirits were rare to begin with, and all of them were peerless works of art, so they were extremely expensive. If he wanted to learn this technique, he really didn't know how many artifact spirits he had to devour. Always. That's a lot of money. Currently, Ning Fan didn't have an artifact spirit, so he couldn't cultivate this technique. Defensive Psyche Art. If I can master this technique, it will make up for my lack of defense. Ning Fan murmured to himself. Although the first 2 styles were extraordinary, Ning Fan was still able to face them calmly. However, when he recalled the information of the 3rd style, his expression changed in an instant, revealing a hint of surprise and a complicated expression. The 3rd style of the divine psyche art, body psyche art. Using the power of the divine sense to condense an avatar. There were 2 types of avatars. The first type was to condense a fake body. The fake avatar could only survive for a day to a few days. With the improvement of the technique, it could last longer and the number of avatars could also increase. However, its biggest flaw was that it didn't have any magical power. The second type was to condense a true body. The true body and clone were the avatars that only a few void fragmentation old monsters could condense. Avatars were different from the real body. There were all kinds of avatars in the cultivation world. Flame avatar, ice avatar, lightning avatar. There were many ways to refine an avatar. The avatar of the body psyche art was called soul psyche avatar. As the name suggested, the refining method of the soul psyche avatar was related to the soul. The refining method of the soul psyche avatar was very easy, but it would cause great harm to the body. It required half of the 3 souls and 7 spirits to be used to refine the avatar. Losing half of the soul meant that Ning Fan would become a person with a damaged soul. His defense against spiritual attacks would be greatly reduced. The difficulty of cultivating many magical techniques would be greatly increased. The worst part was that his lifespan would be reduced by half. Of course, if there was a chance to obtain some treasures that could condense one's soul, it could completely restore the damaged soul. However, one's lifespan would never be restored. Cultivating this technique required a huge price. Ordinary gold core old monsters had a lifespan of 1,000 years. If they took some longevity pills, they could even live for 1,500 years. Harmonious spirit old monsters could live for 500 years. Ning Fan had 500 years of lifespan. If it was other old monsters, they would never be willing to lose half of their lifespan to cultivate an avatar. However, Ning Fan didn't care about his lifespan. He was only 17 years old, but he had already reached the late harmonious spirit realm and intermediate gold core spirit sense. Even if he lost half of his lifespan, he could still live for 250 years. As long as he broke through to the gold core realm before the age of 250, his lifespan would increase by 500 years. Compared to the hundreds or thousands of years of lifespan, Ning Fan was more worried about Moksha Emperor's attack after 100 years. Without strength, he wouldn't be able to live for more than 100 years. What was the use of 500 years of lifespan? It wasn't difficult to make a decision. The soul psyche avatar was a fatal temptation to Ning Fan. Once the soul psyche avatar was successfully refined, it would have the strength of an intermediate gold core realm spirit sense expert. As Ning Fan's spirit sense improved, the cultivation of the soul psyche avatar would also advance. If Ning Fan's spirit sense broke through to the nascent soul realm, the cultivation of the soul psyche avatar would also advance. He could become the #1 expert in Yu country with just the soul psyche avatar. 17 years old, nascent soul realm. How could Ning Fan not be excited? In this demon sinister forest, one only needed to hunt for sense beads to advance their spirit sense. It was much faster than advancing their cultivation. This demon sinister forest seemed to be designed for the soul psyche avatar. Perhaps, the experts who nurtured ghosts in the formation originally wanted to advance the cultivation of the soul psyche avatar. I want to refine the soul psyche avatar. Ning Fan gave up the idea of going to the 3rd region. He wanted to refine an intermediate gold core psyche avatar and sweep across the 3rd region with the small sable. With this psyche avatar, he was confident that he would become the strongest expert in Yu country in a month. Little Black, wait for me obediently. I will cultivate a magical technique and bring you to the 3rd region. Ning Fan walked to the side of the stream and took off his clothes and storage pouch. After all, he needed to sever his soul to refine the avatar. Clothes, storage pouch and other external items would affect the success rate of refining the avatar. Of course, he didn't need to take off his spirit equipment, cauldron ring and yin-yang locket. The magical treasures and spirit equipment that had recognized him as their master wouldn't reject him. Ning Fan opened up an empty space with his naked body. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. His mind was immersed in his soul, trying to sever it into 2 to refine the avatar. He wasn't worried that the small sable would harm him. If it dared to do anything, he could kill it with a wave of his hand. Moreover, it seemed that the small sable wouldn't harm him. She was timid, smart, and cute. While Ning Fan was refining the avatar, the small sable was full of resentment. What sin did I commit in my previous life to meet this stinky man? My first virginity was destroyed by him. The secret treasure of the Bone Sovereign that I risked my life to steal was also taken away by him. The small sable arched its small head and rummaged through the miscellaneous items on the ground. They were the clothes and magical treasures that Ning Fan took off. Among them, there was a piece of black jade that had lost all its spirituality. It almost made the small sable cry. The inheritance could only be used once. After Ning Fan took it away, the black jade would no longer be useful. The black jade that she risked her life to steal was taken away by that stinky man so easily. This was too unfair. She didn't know what the black jade inheritance was, not even the Bone Sovereign. Because neither of them had been able to open the inheritance until now. The small sable was indignant. She couldn't understand why Ning Fan was so lucky to obtain the inheritance when she, a void fragmentation expert, couldn't open it. In fact, the black jade inheritance wasn't difficult to open. It just needed to fulfill two conditions. First, the spirit sense had to reach the nascent soul realm. Second, the token of an immortal emperor. The first condition was lowered because the black jade was destroyed. Ning Fan could barely open it with his intermediate gold core spirit sense. The second condition was the reason why the Yin-Yang locket sensed him. Because he had the Yin-Yang locket, the treasure of an immortal emperor, the black jade recognized him as an ancient immortal emperor. This black jade inheritance was stored in the Four Heavens immortal world under the jurisdiction of the ancient heavenly court. Only immortal emperors could obtain the secret techniques from it with the token. Bone Sovereign and Meiji didn't have an emperor treasure. Even if they were at the void fragmentation realm, they wouldn't be able to open the inheritance. But Ning Fan had the Yin-Yang locket, which was something that Meiji couldn't get. Even though Meiji felt unbalanced, she couldn't do anything about it. Who could decide the fate of a person? Who could blame if she didn't have the fortune? In her heart, she started to worry about another matter. She was afraid that Ning Fan would bring her to the third formation field to risk her life. With her harmonious spirit cultivation base, she shouldn't be able to pass through the formation realm and enter a high-level formation field. But Ning Fan seemed to have some kind of heavenly dwelling magical treasure. If Ning Fan brought her into the third formation field with his heavenly dwelling magical treasure, it would be very dangerous for her with her harmonious spirit cultivation. But if she regained her cultivation, would he still be able to force her to enter the third formation field? I don't care anymore. I will first find a way to remove the seal and restore my cultivation base. Then, I will deal with this stinky man. His 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs are with me now. Hee, I want to eat him up. Once I regain my gold core cultivation, I will suppress it to the peak of harmonious spirit and teach this stinky man a lesson in the second formation field. The sable bit opened the storage pouch. Wisps of medicinal fragrance wafted out, making her saliva flow out in an adorable manner. 1,000 years wind vine. 1,000 years lily. 1,000 years purple orchid. Hiss. 2,000 years jade bone ginseng. This stinky man, where did he get so many good medicines? Hee, this time, it's all mine. The spiritual herbs had reached 1,000 years of age. A cultivator's body wouldn't be able to withstand the strong medicinal energy. Only demonic beasts could eat spiritual herbs raw. While Ning Fan was refining his incarnation, the small sable was ruining his spiritual herbs. Many of them were essential for concocting the nascent formation pill, but they were all ruined by the small sable. Humph. Who wants him to play with my body? I will eat all of his spiritual herbs. Eat them all. Damn it. He is just a harmonious spirit cultivator. Where did he get so many high-grade spiritual herbs? I don't care. I will eat them all. Unfortunately, the sable was already full after eating 1/3 of the spiritual herbs. Her meridians couldn't withstand the medicinal energy. She hurriedly crouched on the ground. Her body emitted a faint light and a black demonic cocoon the size of half a human was formed. Inside the cocoon, she used the medicinal energy to break the seal and restore her magical power. As long as I recover my peak harmonious spirit cultivation, I will definitely teach you a lesson. She clenched her teeth. Her resentment towards Ning Fan was too deep. She didn't know who would succeed in increasing their strength first. The heavens didn't seem to be on her side. In his sea of consciousness, Ning Fan looked at the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls that had the same face as him. The hesitation in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by determination. I will kill you and refine my incarnation. He murmured to the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. I am you. So be it. It will be better if I can increase my strength. The soul replied indifferently. After their conversation, Ning Fan waved his hand. A starlight sword shadow appeared in his palm. The sword cut the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls into 2 halves from the middle. In an instant, his face turned as pale as paper. He spurted out a mouthful of blood and a few strands of white hair appeared on his temples. Young White. It was obvious how serious the injury was when Ning Fan's soul was cut. The reduction of one's lifespan meant the loss of one's life force. The loss of one's lifespan was very serious. Ning Fan, on the other hand, did the exact opposite. He used his lifespan to exchange for his cultivation base. Ning Fan, on the other hand, used his lifespan to exchange for cultivation. Blood flowed out from Ning Fan's 7 orifices. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and revealed a ruthless look. In the empty space in front of him, a ball of soul force rolled up a dim light and drew a pitch-black incarnation that looked exactly like Ning Fan. The only thing that was different from Ning Fan's clone was the strong magical power of an intermediate gold core cultivator. The incarnation was completed. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with joy. But soon, his eyes wrinkled. This incarnation seemed to be imperfect and had such a flaw. As soon as it left the body, it showed signs of dissipating. Ning Fan's expression changed drastically. If the incarnation exploded, the price of cutting his soul and reducing half of his lifespan would be in vain. Chapter 64. After keeping the incarnation in his sea of consciousness, he let out a faint sigh. The incarnation that he had painstakingly refined was actually not convenient to use. This was somewhat unacceptable. Fighting against a gold core old monster would take a few hours. Ning Fan's incarnation could only last for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Apart from killing the weak, he really couldn't think of any other uses for it. At the end of the day, it was because his divine will was too weak to maintain the stability of his incarnation. He needed to improve his divine will in order for his incarnation to be useful. After putting on his clothes, Ning Fan looked at the storage pouch that had shrunk a lot. Then, he looked at the black demon cocoon that was half the height of a human. He sent his spirit sense into the demon cocoon and his expression turned strange. A mere harmonious spirit little sable dares to eat my 1,000-years-old spiritual herb. I didn't expect that this little sable isn't a harmonious spirit, but a void fragmentation. I've misjudged. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. He had never thought that he would be tricked by a small sable after tricking countless people. Now, the main ingredients for the nascent soul formation pill were all in the small sable's stomach. This was another troublesome matter. Zhang Xian rubbed his forehead. How should he deal with the little Martin? This demon was limited by the power of the formation in Nine land. In the second formation region, it could only exert the strength of a peak harmonious spirit. Although he could only maintain the mind incarnation for half an incense's time, it should not be a problem for him to take down the small Martin. However, the small Martin most likely had a way to protect itself. It was not very realistic for him to capture the small marten alive or kill it. After all, the small sable was also a void fragmentation old monster. I can't kill it, I can't catch it. But this little sable seems to be female. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. As long as it was a female, he could use the een plucking finger. He seemed to have made a decision. He immediately took some medicine and regulated his divine soul's heavy injuries, stabilized his injuries, and recovered his strength. He sat cross-legged and waited for the little marten to emerge from its cocoon. A day passed, and the demon cocoon finally changed color. It turned from black to white, from yin to yang. A strange fluctuation of magical power was emitted from the demon cocoon. Then, the black cocoon cracked like an eggshell, and a naked beauty with white jade lazily stretched her waist and crawled out of the demon cocoon. I have finally regained my human form. My cultivation base has also recovered to the peak of harmonious spirit realm. Do you want to teach that stinking man a lesson? This female demon was about 23 or 24 years old. Her body was as white as mutton fat jade, her legs were slender, and her lower abdomen was flat. Her figure was voluptuous and tall, revealing a mature charm. Her hair was not tied up, and it hung loosely over her shoulders like a waterfall. There were some red claw marks on her buttocks and back. They were left behind by Ning Fan when she was still in the body of a small sable. The demoness' eyes were as black as ink, with a hint of anger. This demoness looks not bad, Ning Fan murmured to himself while admiring the graceful figure of the demoness without shifting his eyes away. Stinking brat, have you seen enough? The female demon's pretty face was filled with anger. She was now at the peak of harmonious spirit realm and was no weaker than the white-boned giant devil. This stinky man was really reckless. He even dared to peek at her and take advantage of her. Was he looking for abuse? Nice figure. Ning Fan's tone carried a hint of a smile. This smile was the calmness that came from the improvement of his strength. A peak harmonious spirit demoness couldn't give him any pressure at all. Be my cauldron, be my spirit beast, or accompany me for half a month to walk around the third region. Make a choice. Ning Fan's tone was as if he was going to eat the demoness, making her both angry and frightened. What surprised her was that Ning Fan was too calm. What he was angry about was naturally Ning Fan's arrogant tone. Cauldron? Spirit beast? How dare he say that? Who does he think he is? Immortals? How dare he take in a void fragmentation realm female demon as his spiritual beast? As for accompanying him for half a month. Humph. She seemed to have accompanied this stinky man for 5 days. Moreover, this stinking man was audacious to the extreme. He even wanted to abduct her into the third formation region. He was utterly shameless and had no regard for his life. The demoness' pretty face changed from embarrassment to coldness. She didn't have to be angry to be dignified. She covered her chest with her hands, exuding an aura of inviolability. Don't provoke me anymore, or you'll regret it. A ripple of magical power that was infinitely close to the gold core realm spread out from the demoness body. However, when the ripple reached Ning Fan's front, it was strangely bounced back. In an instant, Ning Fan did not give the female demon any chance to attack. With a move of his sea of consciousness, a black shadow immediately dashed out from his body. It emitted the aura force of an intermediate gold core realm and approached the female demon. The demoness' beautiful eyes were filled with shock. An intermediate gold core incarnation. Only void fragmentation old monsters can cultivate an incarnation technique. How can you have it? Ah! Let go. The black shadow was too fast. The peak harmonious spirit demoness couldn't defend against it. In a flash, the black shadow appeared behind the demoness. His fingertips circulated the een plucking finger and poked several times on her back. At the same time, he released his spirit sense into the demoness' sea of consciousness. She didn't know what he did, but he quickly withdrew his spirit sense. After a series of strange actions, the black shadow shattered and disappeared. What did you do? The demoness was shocked. That black shadow was definitely created by an incarnation technique. It was Ning Fan without a doubt. Just a few pokes from Ning Fan's finger had caused the magical power in her body to become chaotic. The demoness gritted her teeth and forcefully calmed her chi to recover some of her strength. Her mind turned and seemed to have understood something. She sneered and said, "No." That black shadow disappeared in a flash. Your incarnation technique hasn't been completely mastered. There are still flaws. Your flawed incarnation can't catch me. Ning Fan's eyes flashed and revealed a harmless smile. Just as the demoness had guessed, his incarnation still had flaws. He couldn't use it as he wished and it couldn't leave his body for too long. The void fragmentation demoness really couldn't be underestimated. Her eyesight wasn't weak and she actually had a way to resist the plucking finger. Fortunately, the moment the black shadow appeared, he had already planted a restriction on the demoness, forcing her to obey him. He didn't take advantage of the situation to humiliate or force the demoness. He had to use different methods to deal with different people. The demoness was a void fragmentation expert and had her own dignity. If she was cornered, she would rather commit suicide than be controlled by Ning Fan's. Moreover, Ning Fan didn't really think that he could subdue the demoness as his cauldron. Plucking this demoness was simply a joke. The void fragmentation demoness primordial energy contained vast magical power. A drop of primordial blood could easily explode 100 Ning Fans. Plucking also depended on the target. Subduing the demoness as a spirit beast was also an unattainable wish. With Ning Fan's cautious personality, he would rather have nothing than a substandard one. He absolutely wouldn't accept a hidden danger by his side. He couldn't subdue her and he couldn't kill her. If he pushed her too far, she might have some life-saving means to perish together with him. A void fragmentation old monster couldn't be predicted with common sense. Moreover, although the atmosphere between Ning Fan and the demoness was tense, they didn't have the intention to kill each other. After all, they had been together for 5 days. They had eaten together, bathed together and touched each other's body parts. This complicated feeling made it hard for the demoness to kill Ning Fans. The demoness of the Yellow Spring Mink was named Mei Chen and was called Mei Ji among the ghosts. This demoness had a fiery temper that even Bone Sovereign couldn't threaten, so it was normal that Ning Fan couldn't subdue her as a cauldron. Mei Chen, the Yellow Spring Mink. A terrifying demonic beast that advanced by eating ghosts. Just a trace of her aura could make ordinary ghosts tremble in fear. Mei Chen's eyes were extremely complicated. She hated Ning Fan, but she couldn't kill him. Moreover, it seemed like she might not be a match for Ning Fans. I have already recovered my peak harmonious spirit cultivation base, but I still can't defeat him. That incarnation is most likely the secret art of the Black Jade. Speaking of which, this stinky man has to learn the most shameless enchantment art out of all the other arts. Mei Chen cursed in her heart. She could faintly see that Ning Fans didn't have the intention to subdue her as a cauldron and spiritual beast. Otherwise, Ning Fan wouldn't have asked her to accompany him for 15 days. What do you want? The demoness gritted her teeth and tried her best to keep her murderous tone. But when she saw Ning Fan's unruffled smile, she became angry again. She had such a bad temper. Accompany me to the 3rd region for a stroll. Lend me your deterrent force against ghosts. Ning Fan smiled faintly. No. If I enter the 3rd region, the Gold Core subordinates of Bone Sovereign will gang up on me. I don't want to die with you. The demoness gritted her teeth. Bone Sovereign. Oh, the original body of the White Bone Devil? Don't worry. Even if the Bone Sovereign sends a peak Gold Core incarnation, what's there to be afraid of? I need a large number of Gold Core sense beads to break through to the nascent soul realm. If you help me, I have even more thousand-year-old spirit herbs for you to eat. This isn't a threat, but a negotiation. You don't need to feel dissatisfied. Ning Fan said lightly. What does your business have to do with me? I have nothing to talk about with you. I'm already giving you face by not killing you. Why don't you go and ask if I, Mei Chen, have ever been lenient in killing people? Mei Chen knitted her brows. She wouldn't go to the third region no matter what. However, Ning Fan's millennium spiritual herbs were indeed good things that she needed urgently. Should I snatch the herbs from this stinky man? Mei Chen's eyes flashed with a trace of dominance. If you don't help me, I will probably die in the third region. You will regret it at that time. Ning Fan smiled inexplicably. Mei Chen's face turned slightly red from his words. It's better if you die. Why would I regret it? Mei Chen's tone wasn't as firm as before. If it wasn't too dangerous, she might be willing to help Ning Fan. I have planted a restrictive spell in your sea of consciousness just now. If I die, you will die too. Ning Fan smiled faintly. His words were like thunder from the 9 heavens, shaking Mei Chen's mind. Mei Chen immediately checked her sea of consciousness and found out that there was a small restrictive spell planted in her sea of consciousness. She showed an angry expression. She didn't expect Ning Fan to be so shameless. Why are you like this? If you want to go to the third region to die, why do you have to bring me along? Why do you want me to go crazy with you? She felt that she was about to explode from anger. She had never been so angry in her life. Just now, she didn't notice that the shadow had done something to her sea of consciousness because she was hit by the Yin plucking finger. It was the restrictive spell that was planted at that time. Life and death restrictive spell. It was a restrictive spell that was similar to the restrictive spell. However, its effect was very different from the restrictive spell. The restrictive spell could only be planted with the consent of both parties, and the owner could control the life and death of the person who planted the spell. Life and death restrictive spell wasn't as troublesome. As long as your spirit sense surpassed the other party, the spell could be planted even if the other party was unwilling. However, no one was stupid enough to plant such a spell except for Ning Fan. As the name suggested, life and death restrictive spell would allow the two of them to live and die together for a certain period of time. If Ning Fan died, Mei Chen would die. If Mei Chen died, Ning Fan couldn't live either. The power of Ning Fan's spell could only last for half a month. After half a month, he would leave the demon sinister forest and no longer have anything to do with Mei Chen. During this half a month, he was willing to borrow Mei Chen's power to kill more gold core ghosts. Ning Fan wasn't someone who would suffer losses. After all, he had eaten so many millennium spiritual herbs, there must be some compensation. Life and death restrictive spell was a good solution. Not only could he use Mei Chen to deter the ghosts, but he could also ensure that she wouldn't stab him in the back. If the two of them were to die, they would die together. Even though Ning Fan also had to bear the risk of Mei Chen's death, he believed that it would be difficult for Mei Chen, who could escape from Bone Sovereign's hands, to die. Although she looked timid, there really might not be anyone who could kill her. Die with me, or live with me. Ning Fan's smile made Mei Chen even angrier. You are ruthless. This is the first time I, Mei Chen, was threatened by someone, and I have no choice but to obey. Mei Chen gritted her teeth. She had never seen an idiot who would use his own life to threaten others. Ning Fan was a madman, absolutely a madman. She was a void fragmentation old expert, but she was already so timid. Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit expert, but he dared to run away from danger. Was he crazy? Although danger and opportunity coexisted in the cultivation world, the risk this brat was taking was too great. Little Black, you have to be obedient. After entering the third region, you will turn into a small sable and hide in my bosom. Ning Fan's smile was as irritating as ever. His words were even more irritating. My name is Mei Chen, not Little Black. By the way, quickly give me some clothes to wear. My storage pouch has fallen into the third region. I don't have any clothes. Isn't it just half a month? I will accompany you for half a month. After half a month, you better scram as far as you can. As you wish. Without another word, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a set of clothes and threw it to the female demon. It was a man's clothing, and it carried Ning Fan's manly scent. The female demon frowned, but she had no choice but to put it on. She was a demon, so her sense of smell was far superior to humans. Her nose was filled with Ning Fan's scent. This damned smell, this damned smile, this damned gentleness. She was inexplicably touched by Ning Fan. She was inexplicably implanted with the life and death restriction by Ning Fan and dragged to the third region. Who wants to live and die with you, you stinky man? You'd better die quickly so that I can live happily on my own. This was the first time in her life that she hated a man so much. However, she had no way to kill him, nor did she have the determination to do so. She felt a chill when she thought that she would have to turn back into a small sable and return to Ning Fan's bosom. However, she didn't realize that these short days with Ning Fan were the most peaceful days of her life. She didn't need to worry about being eaten by demonic beasts and ghosts when she was asleep. She didn't need to face a group of ghosts when she opened her eyes. All the dangers were taken care of by Ning Fan alone. All she needed to do was to be a small sable, hide in a safe haven, and let people stroke its soft fur comfortably. The seal on her cultivation seemed to have sealed her coldest and most aloof void fragmentation aura. Perhaps this manly smile would still be hard to erase after many years. A day later, a young man in white robes and black cloak swept through the entire second region with the small sable in one hand and the separation slayer in the other. Then, he entered the third region with the white bone sword under his feet. The small sable in his bosom had recovered its early gold core cultivation after consuming a few thousand-years-old spiritual herbs. As soon as the demonic aura dispersed, the entire third region and thousands of miles of area, including ghosts in the form of young masters and beauties, were shocked and frightened. So scary. So scary. Meiji is back. She is back. Inside the merit hall of Sinister Sparrow Sect, Ning Fan's merit points were close to Yan Zhuoyin's, and he was ranked 46th on the merit scale. 189,754 contribution points. Yan Zhuoyin's expression was a little nervous. His 190,000 contribution points that was ranked 45th was about to be surpassed. Although he knew that his contribution points would be surpassed, he didn't expect that Ning Fan's would surpass him in just 17 days. Seeing the merit steel flash, Yan Zhuoyin immediately held his breath. He could even feel his own heartbeat. I am about to be surpassed. Ning Fan is indeed worthy of his name. I am not as good as him. While he was sighing, he was suddenly dumbfounded. Countless harmonious spirit experts in the merit hall revealed a shocked expression. Even the gold core old devils revealed a look of disbelief. Ning Fan's merit points increased by 2,000 points in an instant. 2,000 points. Only by killing a gold core ghost could one obtain such a high amount of contribution points. Ning Fan must have killed a gold core ghost, and gold core ghosts could only be found in the third region and above. He entered the third region. He can even kill a gold core ghost. Impossible. None of the gold core experts dared to look at Ning Fan as if he was a junior. Lan Mei was nervous. The thing she was most worried about had finally happened. She didn't understand. She didn't understand why Ning Fan didn't know what was good for him and risked his life in the third region. Why did she steal the map and give it to him? Dad! Go and save Ning Fan. There are peak gold core old devils in the third region. Ning Fan will be in danger. Lan Mei begged. No need. Sinister Sparrow smiled bitterly. Only Sinister Sparrow knew that Ning Fan had managed to kill a spirit-severing old devil before this. Since he dared to enter the third region, he must be confident. Sinister Sparrow himself didn't believe that a junior like Ning Fan could fight a gold core ghost with his harmonious spirit cultivation. But he didn't know why he had endless confidence in Ning Fan. Chapter 65. The third region was filled with green bamboos and towering bamboo buildings. Within thousands of miles, the scenery was beautiful. But all of these were illusions. If it wasn't for the black fog that covered the sky, no one would have thought that this was a place where ghosts lived. Each of the sage-like experts was actually a gold-core ferocious soul. This place wasn't a paradise, but a place of great danger. The order from Bone Sovereign shocked the third region. Many of the ghosts who had developed spiritual wisdom moved out to search for the two people who had offended Bone Sovereign. One of them was naturally Mei Chen, who had stolen the treasure of Bone Sovereign. Although the ghosts were afraid of her, she was severely injured, so they could beat her when she was down. The other one was the one who killed Bone Sovereign's avatar. According to the connection between Bone Sovereign and his avatar, the one who killed his avatar should be a human devil cultivator. Bone Sovereign's order was equivalent to sentencing Ning Fan to death. In the deep mountains and forests, gold core experts were traversing across the sky. Each of the experts carried a murderous aura, and each of them had a cold expression. They were at least at the early gold core realm. In the outside world, they were even stronger than some gold core old monsters. Ning Fan carefully released his spirit sense at the top of a barren mountain. He heaved a sigh of relief after avoiding the pursuit of the ghost soldiers. Just now, he sneaked close to a lone ghost and split his avatar to kill it with lightning speed. At the same time he obtained a gold core sense bead, he attracted the pursuit of countless experts because of the huge commotion. It wasn't normal for him to be chased by all the ghosts after killing one ghost. Ning Fan didn't believe that these ghosts wanted to avenge their companion. He remained silent and patted his storage pouch to retrieve the remnant soul of the gold core ghost. It was better for him to know more about this place since he had just entered this dangerous place. This early gold core ghost was called Zhou Ming. His memory of his life was blurred, but his memory of becoming a ghost was clear. The ghost race in the third region was originally divided into 15 tribes. 3 of them were close to the demon race and resisted the rule of Bone Sovereign. The ones who were chasing after Ning Fan were the ghost experts of the other 12 tribes. So that void fragmentation old monster was called Bone Sovereign. The 12 ghost clans actually wanted to kill me because of a single order from him. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold and he continued reading his memories. This gold core ghost named Zhou Ming had an arrogant and conceited personality. He had once rejected the recruitment of the 12 ghost tribes and disdained to have dealings with the 3 ghost tribes that were close to demons. The reason why he went out alone this time was just to fish in troubled waters and pick up some benefits. However, Ning Fan took the opportunity to eliminate him. In Zhou Ming's memories, every tribe had stored many ghost prayer beads. Ghosts were unable to consume the rosary beads. Its only use was to refine Yin's soul magical treasures. A golden core stage ghost actually used sense beads to refine a magic weapon. This undoubtedly increased the difficulty of killing it. After searching his soul and memory, Zhou Ming's soul exploded. As for Ning Fan, he held his chin and muttered to himself. The risk of killing the ghost and seizing the pearl was not small. Now that the third region was in a mess, everyone was actually trying to capture him. It was something that he did not expect. Now, as long as he killed a ghost, his identity would immediately be exposed, and in an instant, countless ghosts would chase after him. This was the power of the Bone Sovereign. With just a word, countless experts would die for him. It was extremely unrealistic to travel unhindered in the third region. Perhaps, it would be better to return to the second region and kill the harmonious spirit ghosts. There were still a lot of harmonious spirit sense beads in his storage pouch, but he found that after his spirit sense broke through to intermediate gold core realm, the effects of using the harmonious spirit sense beads were negligible. It might be safe to return to the second region until the end of the assessment, but it was impossible to break through to nascent soul spirit sense realm. Staying here would be extremely dangerous. There was almost no chance of survival. Leaving here was also somewhat unreconciled. Ning Fan took out Zhou Ming's storage pouch and suddenly had a bold idea. He could kill two birds with one stone. If he disguised himself as Zhou Ming and went to a ghost tribe to wreak havoc and steal the sense beads and spiritual herbs, what would happen? A ghost tribe had at least hundreds of gold core sense beads. With so many sense beads, it would be enough for his spirit sense to break through to late gold core realm. Ning Fan knew that with his current strength, even with the help of the small sable, he would not be able to collect a few sense beads in half a month. Moreover, he would most likely be chased by countless ghosts. Being able to obtain hundreds of sense beads without bloodshed was naturally the best outcome. He pondered for a moment and said to the small sable in his bosom, "Blackie, I want to sneak into a ghost tribe to steal something." The small sable was lazily taking a nap in his bosom. When it heard Ning Fan's words, it quivered and all the hair on its back stood up. It rebuked, "Are you crazy? You are a living human. If you sneak into a ghost tribe, you will be discovered in an instant. Don't you want to live anymore? Even the weakest ghost clan has dozens of ghosts at the peak of the gold core realm. When they attack you together, you will definitely die, idiot. Don't worry, I have a way to hide my human identity. Who is worried about you? I am just afraid that you will die in vain and cause me to die with you." The small sable curled its lips. Its temper had been too strong recently. "I won't die as long as I am careful." Ning Fan slightly smiled. He spread out his spirit sense and wrapped it around his body. In an instant, a cold ghost chi rose from his body and his cultivation base became uncertain. It was like a late harmonious spirit, but also like an intermediate gold core. Of course, it was just an illusion. Intermediate gold core was just an illusion. This magical technique wasn't the false thought art. It was just using the chi of the soul of his second incarnation to cover the yang chi on his body, making him look like a ghost. However, it wouldn't allow him to unleash his intermediate gold core magical power or change his appearance. If I disguise myself as the wrongful death ghost, no one should be able to recognize me. After all, Zhou Ming has always been a loner and arrogant. He doesn't have any familiar people. Although it could conceal the yang chi of a living human, it couldn't change his appearance or disguise his cultivation base. However, these 2 points weren't a problem for Ning Fan. There were very few people who were familiar with Zhou Ming. Almost no one knew what he looked like. As for his cultivation base, his seemingly uncertain cultivation base could cause others to misunderstand that he was about to break through intermediate gold core. That was why his fluctuating chi matched Zhou Ming's identity as an early gold core cultivator. However, if he disguises himself as Zhou Ming, then the biggest flaw wouldn't be Ning Fan's but the yellow spring sable, Mei Chen. After all, Mei Chen's suppressive force on ghosts was too strong. It seemed like he had to keep Mei Chen in his cauldron ring for the time being. He opened Zhou Ming's storage pouch and found 2 magical treasures refined from sense beads. Both of them were intermediate early rank magical treasures. The other was a small black defensive shield called the Iron Bone Shield. The other one was a lotus-shaped concealed magical treasure called the Black Lotus Nail. There was also a wooden plate in the storage pouch with Zhou Ming's name written on it. It seemed to be the identity token of the ghost clan. It seemed like it wouldn't be a problem as long as he hid the small sable and disguised himself as Zhou Ming. Once he sneaks into a ghost clan, he could steal hundreds of sense beads and his spirit sense would break through to the late gold core realm. His eyes revealed a determined look and said to the small sable, "I have decided to sneak into a ghost clan and steal the sense beads. For safety's sake, I will choose the weakest ghost clan. Among the 15 ghost clans, the Tooth clan seems to be the weakest. The stolen sense beads belong to me and the spiritual herbs belong to you. Even if I'm seen through, I can still escape. If there's a chance, it's not impossible to annihilate the Tooth clan. The small sable frowned. Ning Fan didn't give her a chance to refuse. Would she be able to stop Ning Fan from sneaking into the ghost clan? But when she heard that Ning Fan wanted to destroy the Tooth clan, the small sable immediately showed a pleading look. Don't go to the Tooth clan. Why? Ning Fan raised his eyebrows. Could it be that this Mei Chen was related to the Tooth clan? Not only the Tooth clan, but also the Purple clan and the Red clan. You are not allowed to go to these 3 clans. They used to be my subordinates, although they have betrayed me now. The small sable added in a low voice with a trace of sadness in her eyes. The Tooth clan was the weakest ghost clan. Ning Fan's chances of success and safety were the highest if he sneaked into the Tooth clan. However, the small sable's pleading touched Ning Fan's heart. He smiled and changed his plan. This sable girl had a complicated personality. She was indecisive and timid, as if she didn't deserve to be a void fragmentation expert. However, there was one thing that Ning Fan admired. This sable girl was sentimental and sentimental. It was because of this that Ning Fan was willing to take the risk for the mink girl. Alright, I won't touch these 3 clans. Let's change our target to the Green clan. There are a total of 11 peak gold core experts in the Green clan. Even I have to be careful in order to not get into trouble. Thank you, but you are sneaking into the Ghost clan. Where should I hide? Could it be, there? The small sable looked at the cauldron ring on Ning Fan's left wrist and blushed. She knew that the magical treasure was not only a heavenly dwelling magical treasure, but also used to store cauldrons. It seemed like this stinky man had stored a lot of women in it. You already know the answer. Ning Fan teased while looking at the golden sense bead in his hand. It was from Zhou Ming's body. This sense bead had a certain amount of blood veins and turned golden. The eviline energy made Ning Fan's divine soul shiver. In order to remove the eviline energy from the sense bead, the second revolution soul nurturing pill was not enough. He would at least need to concoct a third revolution profound dark pill before he dared to consume it. Without the profound dark pill, consuming the sense bead recklessly would only be courting death. The dozens of soul-nurturing pills in his storage pouch would be useless. While he was deep in thought, his expression suddenly changed. He quickly kept the sense bead and didn't have time to explain to the small sable. He waved the cauldron ring and sent the small sable into the red misty space. The small sable exclaimed. Before she could react, she had already appeared in a paradise with green mountains and clear waters. Damn it! You really put me in here. You. The small sable was a little angry. Then, a pile of 1,000-years-old spiritual herbs were thrown in from the outside and rained on the small sable's head. At the same time, Ning Fan's voice was heard. You stay in the cauldron ring and take the spiritual herbs to restore your strength. Try to recover to peak gold core realm. At that time, you can help me. Someone is coming from outside. I'm afraid they are chasing after your chi. Ning Fan's explanation made the small sable's expression change. She was a little scared. An expert came to kill her so soon. After entering the cauldron ring and being hit by the red mist, the small sable couldn't maintain her human form and turned back into a naked beauty. Her eyes were full of anger and shame. Is this Ning Fan looking at me? Is he peeping at me? He actually put me into the cauldron ring. Does this stinky man really want to use me as his cauldron? With that small body of his, can he pluck me? Ning Fan's robe fell from the sky again. Mei Chen wore the robe. Although she hated Ning Fan's smell, she didn't want to be naked and be seen by Ning Fan. Her gaze fell on the countless spiritual herbs on the ground. It was only at this moment that her mood improved. Wait until I recover to peak Gold Core realm. I will teach you a good lesson. She sat on the grass and bit a Bodhi fruit. The milky white medicinal juice flowed out from her red lips. It was a little ambiguous. This heavenly dwelling magical treasure is really mysterious. This is my first time seeing it with my own eyes. The last time I came here, I was dizzy and couldn't see it clearly. Mei Chen's mood was getting better. Her eyes swept around while eating the spiritual herbs. There was a hint of surprise in her beautiful eyes. It was a very strange heavenly dwelling magical treasure. She wondered how Ning Fan got it. In the outside world, Ning Fan stood on the hill with a frown, but it soon relaxed. At the foot of the hill, dozens of tyrannical rays of light flew over, heading straight for the peak of the mountain that towered into the clouds. They were chasing after Mei Chen and his qi. Kill them. There is Mei Chen's qi up there. In just 2 breaths' time, more than 60 gold core ghosts landed on the peak of the mountain and surrounded Ning Fan. However, Mei Chen's qi disappeared when they reached the peak of the mountain. This puzzled the ghosts. They didn't see Mei Chen run away, so why did she disappear? The leader was an old man in bone armor. His eyes fell on Ning Fan. He saw that Ning Fan was just a gold core ghost who was about to break through to intermediate gold core realm. This old man is the great elder of the Bone clan, Gu Mo. Which clan are you from? What's your name? Have you seen the traitor Mei Chen run away from here? The old man in bone armor had a half-stepped nascent soul cultivation base. He was the elder of the Bone clan and the Ghost clan. When he spoke, he squinted his eyes and acted like an old man. He didn't put Ning Fan in his eyes at all. The old man believed that he could kill a mere intermediate gold core ghost with just a wave of his hand. If it wasn't for Mei Chen's whereabouts, the old man wouldn't even bother to talk to Ning Fan. Ning Fan smiled in his heart when he saw the old man didn't attack him. It seemed like he had succeeded in playing the role of a ghost. Even a half-step nascent soul expert couldn't see through his identity as a living person. His mind was filled with thoughts in just a flash. Ning Fan took a deep breath and put on a fearful expression. He cupped his fists and said to the old man in bone armor. His body seemed to be trembling, making him look extremely timid. Junior Zhou Ming is a free person. I don't belong to any ghost clan. To make a long story short, this old man isn't interested in your background. Just say it, did you see the traitor Mei Chen? When the old man heard the 2 words Zhou Ming, he felt that it was strange and immediately showed an impatient expression. Yes. Just now, this junior was dizzy and saw a black shadow flashing past. It went to the north. I didn't see anything else clearly. According to what Senior said, that black shadow is the Mei Chen who offended the Bone Sovereign. Ning Fan's expression seemed to be a little frightened and his body trembled even more violently. Yes, it's her. What are you afraid of? A tiger without its teeth can't do anything anymore. She is already seriously injured. I'm afraid her cultivation base can't even reach the gold core realm. If you were more courageous just now, you might be able to take down this demon and make a great contribution. Regret your cowardice, brat. The old man snorted coldly and no longer looked at Ning Fan. In his eyes, Ning Fan was as timid as a mouse. His cultivation base was low and his qi was weak. He led a group of experts and went straight to the north. After the old man and his group left, Ning Fan's fearful expression disappeared. His face was as still as a mountain. The corner of his eyes shrunk and his eyes turned solemn. Bone Clan. Among the 15 ghost clans in the 3rd region, the Ghost Clan is ranked 3rd. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. A half-step nascent soul expert is already invincible in Yu country, but in the demon sinister forest, he is only the great elder of Bone Clan. The overall strength of the ghosts in the 3rd region was much stronger than Yu country. In the 4th region, a slightly stronger ghost king was enough to destroy Yu country. The fifth region, the sixth region, the Bone Sovereign who ruled the seventh region was the one he offended. He was an existence that countless of ghosts feared. So what if he offended the Bone Sovereign? Ning Fan was extremely daring. If he had the chance, he would even kill the Bone Sovereign with a single slash. He wouldn't show any mercy. As long as my spirit sense breaks through to the late Gold Core realm, it won't be difficult to kill the Great Elder of Bone Clan with the help of my incarnation and the small sable. If the bone-armored old man heard Ning Fan's indifferent words, he would be extremely shocked. The young man who seemed so timid just now actually wanted to kill him after he left. How could he be so daring? Ning Fan kept his expression and flew towards the eastern region of the third region in a flash. There were many rivers in the eastern region. The Green Clan was located at the banks of these rivers. To subvert the third region, he would start from the Green Clan. Green Clan had 1152 early Gold Core ghosts, 449 intermediate ghosts, 124 late ghosts, 11 peak ghosts, and none of them were false nascent soul experts. Chapter 66. On this day, a young man named Zhou Ming joined the Green Clan in a low-key manner. Rumor had it that Zhou Ming's cultivation base was fluctuating. Sometimes his chi was at harmonious spirit realm, sometimes intermediate Gold Core realm. The person he chose to kill was a medical officer who had just formed his core and had yet to stabilize his cultivation base. There were also rumors that Zhou Ming was arrogant and had rejected the recruitment of the Great Elder. In short, none of the rumors about Zhou Ming were good. If there was a rumor that was pleasing to the ear, it would be a rumor. Zhou Ming was a handsome and slim young man. It seemed that there were already many female ghosts who had their eyes on Zhou Ming and wanted to have sex with him. If they could pluck Zhou Ming, it was unknown how many female ghosts would be so happy that they would forget about home and home. This news wasn't good news to Ning Fan either. This was because he was Zhou Ming. In a remote bamboo house in the Green Clan, Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi to recover his injuries from the fight. During the day, he killed the medical officer, Yellow Evil, joined the Green Clan and seized his position. However, he suffered serious injuries. He couldn't use his incarnation, Separation Slayer, the two styles of sword qi and the small sable. Other than the two ghost magical treasures he got from Zhou Ming, he didn't use anything else. In order to avoid exposing his identity, he only relied on his intermediate Gold Core spirit sense, the Iron Bone Shield and the Black Lotus Nail. After a few twists and turns, he was only slightly stronger than Yellow Evil and killed him. As such, he finally got what he wanted and joined the Green Clan in a low-key manner. According to his original plan, he was going to challenge the Elder in charge of the vault. However, the Elder was a late Gold Core expert. Ning Fan knew that even if he used his full strength, he might not be able to kill him. Thus, he had to give up his initial plan. Otherwise, he would kill the Elder and replace him. At this moment, he would no longer be the medical officer of the Green Clan, but the Elder of the vault. He could easily open the vault and steal all the sense beads and spiritual herbs without anyone noticing. This is really troublesome. But Master once said that the road to happiness is strewn with setbacks. One who can endure is a devil. Only when night fell did he fully recover from his injuries. He was planning how to approach the vault of Green Clan and steal all the sense beads. The security of the vault was extremely strict. Normally, there would be at least 10 intermediate Gold Core experts and 50 early Gold Core experts taking turns to guard it. He pushed open the door and walked out, trying to walk around the tribe to find an opportunity. Unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped out of the door, 2 female ghosts descended from the sky, blocking his way. Of the 2 female ghosts, one was wearing a white dress and white embroidered shoes. However, there were bloody holes in her eyes, as if her eyes had been gouged out. Her face was bright and clean, and she was quite pretty. Her breasts were perky, and her waist was slender. If she could regain her sight, she would definitely be a beautiful woman. As for the other female ghost, she wore a bright red dress, and her lips were as red as blood. Even her pupils were slightly red, and there was a bloody hole in her lower abdomen that could never be healed. Her appearance was originally delicate and beautiful, yet her blood-red eyes were filled with tears of blood, and they carried boundless resentment, causing the veins on her face to bulge out, causing her to seem savage and terrifying. Young Master Zhou Ming, please wait. According to the rules of our Green Clan, those who join our clan are not allowed to walk at night for 10 years. The white-clothed woman's voice was as clear as spring water. It was pleasing to the ears. Just her voice alone was enough to make up for her terrifying appearance. As for the red-robed female ghost, her expression was ferocious. She bared her teeth and her blood-red eyes showed contempt towards Ning Fan. Humph! You are not allowed to walk at night. Her long fingernails were gesturing at Ning Fan from afar. A trace of dangerous blood-red light was circulating on her fingertips. Oh. I joined the clan, but I'm not allowed to walk at night. I see. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and understood why the Green Clan restricted the newly joined ghosts to not walk at night for 10 years. It was easy to understand. There was no guarantee that the newly joined ghosts wouldn't have evil intentions. They might even harm the tribe. For example, Ning Fan's motive for joining the Green Clan wasn't pure. Within 10 years, the newly joined ghosts would be monitored by 2 experts. Those who were monitoring Ning Fan were the 2 strange-looking female ghosts in front of him. Ning Fan's eyes moved. The white-clothed female ghost was an early gold core cultivator, while the red-clothed female ghost was an intermediate gold core cultivator. Moreover, both of them had condensed magical power, which meant that they were experienced in killing. However, no matter how powerful these 2 female ghosts were, they were still females. Ning Fan's eyes moved. He wanted to see if he could take them down without anyone noticing. His face was still maintaining a harmless smile. His feet lightly touched the ground, secretly separating his second incarnation from his original body. He was trying to get close to the 2 females. If his incarnation could get close to the 2 females, Ning Fan was confident that he could subdue them with his plucking finger. However, the moment Ning Fan released his incarnation, the 2 females vaguely felt that something was wrong. They twisted their slender waist and distanced themselves from Ning Fan. At the same time, they waved their palms. Crystal whistling arrows appeared in their palms. As long as Ning Fan made a move, they would crush the whistling arrows and awaken all the ghosts in the clan. What are you trying to do? The white-clothed female scolded softly. She seemed to be at a loss. Apparently, she didn't expect that this harmless young man would want to sneak an attack on her. The red-clothed female's eyes were filled with blood-red light. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. However, the contempt she had for Ning Fan had vanished. What a cautious woman. She was indeed a keen intuition trained in the demon sinister forest. Ning Fan was very careful when he attacked the 2 females with his incarnation, but the 2 of them escaped by instinct. It seemed like it wasn't easy to sneak an attack on them. I don't want to do anything. It's just that the night is too short. I want to have a drink with the 2 beauties. I wonder if the 2 of you can do me the honor. No need. You stay in the house. You are not allowed to walk at night. Besides, I'm blind, not a beauty. The white-clothed female ghost didn't expect that Ning Fan would invite her. She had never been called a beauty before. Her face blushed slightly, all the way to her neck. Her snow-white skin had a tinge of pink. As for the red-clothed ghost at the side, it was rare for her to put away her cold expression and actually burst out laughing. You said that we are beauties. Haha. You are really a fool. Hurry up and go back. Just because you called me a beauty, even if you didn't do anything to me, I will forgive you. However, there won't be a next time. No matter what your purpose of coming to Green Clan is, it's better to restrain yourself before you have the strength. The two females left and disappeared into the night. However, Ning Fan knew that the two of them were still watching him from the vicinity of his house. He was afraid that the two of them wouldn't show any mercy the next time he attacked them. Interesting female ghosts. It seems like it won't be easy to do anything while they are watching me. If I can't do it at night, I'll do it during the day. There will always be a way, right? Ning Fan smiled faintly and turned back to his house. His movements were calm as if his state of mind wasn't disturbed by the previous incident. When he turned around, he spoke indifferently. May I know the names of the two fairies? As soon as his words faded, a soft rustling sound of clothes was heard from the bushes beside him. It was the white-clothed female ghost who got nervous and fell to the ground. This female ghost was too shy. I'm not a fairy. My name is, the red-clothed female ghost covered her mouth before she could finish her words. Are you stupid? Stupid girl. You just said your name when she asked for it. The red-clothed female ghost's lips were as red as blood. She smiled. My name is Heartbroken. She is blind. As for you, your name is Malicious. Be careful. Not everyone in Green Clan is as kind as us. If you're not careful, you'll end up like the both of us, said Jiang Chen with a smile. Is that so? Thanks for the reminder. Ning Fan closed the door and went back to his house. There seemed to be some kind of restriction in the bodies of the two females. They aren't people of Green Clan. Perhaps they were captured. That's why they were implanted with restriction and had their eyes and intestines cut off. Ghost slaves. Two words suddenly emerged in Ning Fan's mind. Different tribes in the third region weren't united. These two females must be people from other tribes. They were captured by Green Clan and were implanted with restriction to be their ghost slaves. Do I need to break the restriction for them? Although they have ghost bodies and I can't pluck them, I don't mind having two cauldrons to chat with. Humans and ghosts couldn't be together, otherwise, their cultivation would be greatly damaged. Ning Fan didn't come to Green Clan to capture cauldrons. With the help of the two females, he would have a way to sneak into the vault and plunder the sense beads of spiritual herbs. Chapter 67. When he pushed the door open, it was already daytime. The two girls who were monitoring him seemed to have left to rest. He wasn't restricted from going out during the day. However, he was afraid that he couldn't freely enter and exit the tribe's encampment. The ghosts in Green Clan don't have a clear hierarchy. They aren't united either. It can even be said that the ghosts that joined Green Clan have different purposes. Ning Fan's eyes seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. He pushed open the bamboo fence and walked in the forest. His eyes swept across the ghost experts that he passed by. Everyone had their own purpose. There was only one word that could make a group of gold core ghosts gather: benefits. The elder who was guarding the vault might steal something that he was guarding. It could even be said that the late gold core elder was being monitored by 10 intermediate and 50 early gold core ghosts. Each of them had their own agenda. This was the most suitable word to describe the ghosts in the tribe. Ning Fan's wasn't the only one who wanted to rob the vault. The entire Green Clan had ulterior motives. The vault of the tribe was located at the end of the bamboo forest. There was an invisible formation covering the place. There were also gold core experts hidden everywhere guarding the place. The security was quite tight. He came to the vault to inquire about the layout of the vault, the layout of the formation and the distribution of experts. After that, he would make a detailed plan to steal the sense beads. Every month, the medical officer could come to the vault to collect a certain amount of herbs for concocting pills. Ning Fan wanted to use this reason to find out more about the vault. When Ning Fan walked out of the vault, he encountered a ghost that was trying to steal the herbs and was discovered by the formation. That ghost was an early gold core expert. In Yu country, he could be considered as a first-class expert. However, his spirit sense couldn't detect that there was a defensive formation outside the vault. As soon as the formation was activated, the ghost's expression changed drastically. He retreated in a hurry, but it was too late. As soon as the formation was activated, an irresistible scent spread out. The gold core ghost screamed and was burned to ashes in just a breath's time. Another early gold core herb thief. Every once in a while, there would be someone who doesn't know life from death and wants to rob the spiritual herbs in the vault. In the dark, a few sneers were heard. They seemed to be sneering at the ghost that died in vain and at Ning Fan's. In the eyes of these experts, Ning Fan's purpose of joining the Green Clan was most likely to be the spiritual herbs in the vault. This was not difficult to guess, because many of them chose to guard the treasury for this reason. Ning Fan stopped and did not move forward anymore. The invisible formation was right in front of him. Indistinctly, he could feel the chi of countless hidden experts. Their concealment techniques were extremely profound. If Ning Fan did not completely release his spirit sense, he would definitely not be able to detect them. With Ning Fan's cultivation base in the Tao of formations, he was able to identify the number of formation eyes in just a short while. The 108 formation eyes could barely be considered a nascent soul realm formation. Moreover, each of the formation eyes was not filled with celestial jades or celestial ores, but with sense beads. This was a nascent realm formation that was set up with spiritual will as the driving force. Ghostly cultivators below the nascent soul realm could be killed with ease. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the 108 formation eyes with a hint of passion. 108 golden core prayer beads were actually used to set up a formation. It was truly a reckless waste of God's resources. However, this was to be expected. To ghosts, the most valuable things were spirit herbs. As for the sense beads, they could obtain them just by killing one of their companions. Other than forging treasures and setting up formations, they really didn't have much use for them. After all, they couldn't live, so they couldn't devour. The tragic ghost, who had just died, slowly formed a dazzling prayer bead next to his exploded soul. Immediately, a female ghost with a waist like a water snake appeared beside the sense bead in a flash of green light. She opened her hand and took the sense bead away. At the same time, she stared at Ning Fan with a sneer. "Yo, isn't this the new medical officer, Zhou Ming? Why? Are you here to rob the vault and die?" Ning Fan's eyes turned cold the moment the female ghost appeared. A late gold core female ghost. She must be the elder who was guarding the vault. Zhou Ming wouldn't dare to rob the vault. However, as a medical officer, I lack herbs to concoct pills, so I came to the vault to collect them. According to the rules of Green Clan, a medical officer can collect 10 stalks of century-old spirit herbs every month to concoct pills. At the same time, I have to submit at least 1 second revolution pill to the clan every month. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. He cupped his fists slightly. His calmness made the late gold core female ghost look at him with a whole new level of respect. The sneer on her face slowly disappeared and she stared at Ning Fan meaningfully. "You know how to concoct pills? Which revolution pill? May I know how to address elder?" Ning Fan didn't answer her question but asked with a faint smile. "Hee, early gold core brat, those who dared to ask my name are all dead. Fine, I will spare you this time since you are a pill master. Listen carefully, this elder's name is Chu Han." The elder named Chu Han actually answered Ning Fan's question. This surprised the experts who were hiding in the dark. After all, they had never seen Elder Chu Han treating an early gold core ghost in such a friendly manner. But it was no wonder. After all, there were only a few ghosts who knew how to concoct pills. Most of the ghosts knew how to concoct pills when they were alive, but after they died, they would usually lose most of their memories. Only a few of them could still remember how to concoct pills. Yesterday, Ning Fan's performance in the tribe was average, so he couldn't enter the eyes of the elders. But if he knew how to concoct pills, his status would be much higher. Perhaps he would be valued even more than an intermediate gold core elder. Chu Han's eyes swept across Ning Fan. She was curious why a mere early gold core cultivator like him could be so calm in front of her. So it's Elder Chu Han. My name is Zhou Ming, a second revolution pill master. Ning Fan replied indifferently. He wouldn't publicize his fourth revolution pill concoction technique because it would instantly attract the attention of countless experts, making it hard for him to act in the dark. Really? Only second revolution? Elder Chu Han's eyes revealed an obvious disappointment. Her eyes turned cold again. Although there weren't many second revolution pill masters, they weren't scarce. Second revolution pill masters had almost no effect on gold core ghosts. Chu Chen, bring him in to choose the herbs. He is only allowed to pick 100 years old herb. 500 years old herb and 1,000 years old herb. You know the consequences if you lose even one. Chu Han's words were cold and filled with killing intent. She shook her body and disappeared without a trace. She didn't want to talk to Ning Fan anymore. All of a sudden, an old man who was dressed like a fisherman slowly revealed himself while holding a formation plate. He chuckled at Ning Fan. This old man is Chu Chen. Greetings, Master Zhou. This elderly fisherman seemed to only have an early gold core realm cultivation base. The way he addressed Ning Fan was even more respectful and carried a hint of flattery. However, as soon as he appeared, Ning Fan could feel a trace of coldness flashing across his back. His eyes did not move, but a trace of instinctive fear rose in his heart. Strange. Even if he was facing a late gold core expert, no one could give Ning Fan such a sense of crisis. This old man isn't simple. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the old man as if nothing had happened. Finally, he found some clues from the old man's qi. Nascent soul qi, this old man was a half-step nascent soul expert. A half-step nascent soul expert would at least be a great elder of a ghost clan. Ning Fan was afraid that this old man was the great elder of a ghost clan. Ning Fan's heart sank. This old man probably had the same purpose as him, to disguise himself and sneak into Green Clan. Since he was guarding the vault, his target was naturally the spiritual herbs. Junior Zhou Ming greets Senior Chu. I'll have to trouble Senior to lead the way and bring me to get the spiritual herbs. Hundreds of thoughts flashed across his mind, but he didn't show it on his face. He cupped his hands at the old man and smiled, then followed him into the vault. The old man seemed to be very talkative. He seemed to have a wide range of knowledge and experience, but he was trying to find out Ning Fan's background by beating around the bush. Ning Fan answered the old man's questions perfunctorily. With his experience as an immortal emperor, it was impossible for him to get any information out of the old man. Even if Ning Fan didn't say anything, the fact that he could answer the old man's question had already made the old man frown. This old man is the great elder of Purple Clan. When I was alive, I was unstoppable in Rain Immortal World. After my death, I painstakingly cultivated for 1,000 years to gain such knowledge. This little guy's bone age seems to be no more than 17 years old, but he was able to answer my question. He's a good schemer. He could tell that I wanted to find out his background, so he tried to change the topic. But he didn't know that his answer to my question had already exposed a lot of problems. This kid must have hidden something. I'm afraid that the reason why he came to Green Clan is for the vault. It coincides with my purpose. However, this little guy won't be able to snatch away the things that I want. Ning Fan and I had our own thoughts and gradually stopped talking. After Ning Fan stepped into the vault, he answered the old man perfunctorily while secretly observing the layout of the formation in the vault. The vault was divided into 4 floors. The first floor had the weakest defense. As long as Ning Fan was careful and didn't expose his trump card, he would be able to steal everything from the first floor. Unfortunately, the first floor only contained century-old spiritual herbs. The second floor contained sense beads and some magical treasures of ghost cultivators. The third floor contained century-old and above spiritual herbs. The fourth floor contained century-old spiritual herbs. Ning Fan was secretly delighted. It seemed like the gold core sense beads weren't the most important thing in Green Clan. The defense of the second floor hadn't reached the nascent realm yet. Ning Fan was confident that he could destroy the Grand Formation and seize all the sense beads with his separation slayer. Of course, he couldn't do that now. Ning Fan could feel that countless experts guarding the vault had locked their spirit sense on him. Once he made any strange move, they would immediately activate the power of the formation and burn him to ashes. I'll sneak in and steal the herbs some other day. The century-old spiritual herbs are all in the first floor. Master Zhou, feel free to choose. The old man smiled and continued to observe Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the century-old spiritual herbs in the room. Each of the spiritual herbs was sealed on the wooden shelves by the power of the formation. Not only could it prevent the thief from stealing the herbs, it could also prevent the medicinal energy from dispersing. Ning Fan was surprised when he saw the spiritual herbs. There were many extinct spiritual herbs in Rain Immortal World, but he could find them in Demon Sinister Forest. For example, there were 2 missing herbs for the Rising Spirit Pill and 1 missing main herb for the Consolidating Spirit Pill. The Rising Spirit Pill was useless to Ning Fan, but the Consolidating Spirit Pill was a must for him to break through to the peak of Harmonious Spirit Realm. Due to the scarcity of the Consolidating Spirit Pill in the outside world, the price of the Consolidating Spirit Pill had already reached a sky-high price. At first, Ning Fan wasn't interested in the century-old spiritual herbs. But now, an idea emerged in his mind when he saw the mountains of century-old spiritual herbs. He would steal all the century-old spiritual herbs to concoct a large number of Rising Spirit Pills and Consolidating Spirit Pills. Not only would he use them, but he would also leave them for the 3 black demon guards. In less than 10 years, Ning Fan was confident that he could cultivate the 3 black demon monarchs to the Harmonious Spirit Realm. 1,400 Harmonious Spirit Experts. Even if Ning Fan didn't have a nascent soul cultivation base, it wouldn't be difficult for him to sweep the entire Extreme Yin Gate. He collected his thoughts, and without batting an eyelid, casually took 10 ordinary spirit herbs, bid farewell, and left. He didn't take the herbs for the Consolidating Spirit Pill to avoid suspicion. After Ning Fan left, the old man reported the process of Ning Fan taking the herbs to Elder Chu Han. Century-old Li River Grass, century-old Slanting Valley, century-old Lu Fragrance. These are the herbs needed to concoct the Second Revolution Spirit Recovery Pill. Chu Chen, you can leave now. I will remind you for the last time. Don't have any ideas about the vault. Chu Han sat cross-legged with her eyes closed. She wasn't interested in Ning Fan, who was a Second Revolution Dan Master. He. Chu Chen is only an early gold core expert. How would I dare to court death in the vault? If I had the cultivation of a late gold core elder, I would be more than willing to do something. The old man chuckled and left. But when he left the room, he looked at the direction where Ning Fan left with a trace of doubt. That kid's eyes stayed on the main ingredient of the Consolidating Spirit Pill for a few breaths. Consolidating Spirit Pill is something that only Harmonious Spirit Juniors need. It should be useless to gold core ghosts like us. How could he be tempted by the Consolidating Spirit Pill? That look of joy on his face wasn't fake. Could it be that Zhou Ming isn't a gold core ghost? If he isn't a gold core ghost, how could he enter the 3rd region? Unless he is a living person. Could he be the one who killed the Bone Sovereign's clone? He. If this kid is really the one who killed the Bone Sovereign's clone, this old man is willing to cooperate with him to eradicate the Green Clan. This old man was able to deduce so many things from Ning Fan's expression. Fortunately, this old man didn't have any ulterior motives towards Ning Fan. On the contrary, he had the intention to befriend Ning Fan. After all, Chu Chen was the great elder of the Purple Clan. The Purple Clan used to be the subordinates of Emperor Lan, Mei Chen. They weren't on the same side as the Bone Sovereign. Ning Fan killing the Bone Sovereign's clone had nothing to do with this old man. Naturally, he wouldn't expose Ning Fan to please the Bone Sovereign. Ning Fan didn't return to his house immediately. Instead, he took a stroll around the Green Clan during the day. In his heart, he had decided to treat the two female ghosts' injuries and remove the restriction on them. This way, he could rope them in to help him rob the vault. A lot of things were needed to treat the two female ghosts and remove the restriction. There were many shops in the Green Clan that were run by the experts themselves. Ning Fan only needed to spend some spiritual herbs to exchange for the items he needed. The third revolution pill, regaining sight pill, lacked 2 herbs. He could concoct 2 pills and put them into the empty eye sockets of the female ghosts to restore their sight. The third revolution pill, blood healing pill, lacked 1 herb. The wound caused by a high-grade magical treasure was extremely hard to heal. Only the blood healing pill could heal the wound. As for removing the restriction, he needed some poison. The higher the grade, the better. Ning Fan needed a large amount of poison. The stronger the poison, the better. In the memory of the immortal emperors, there was a method to fight poison with poison. It was specifically used to remove the restriction on one's body. If the poison was strong enough, it could even remove an unsolvable restriction like the sense restriction. Of course, the poison needed to remove the sense restriction must be extremely horrifying. At least, there wouldn't be any in the Rain Immortal world. After exchanging for the required herbs, Ning Fan returned to his house and began to concoct pills. This was the residence of the medical officer. It didn't lack earth fire and pill cauldron. It wasn't difficult for Ning Fan to concoct a third revolution pill with his current concoction technique and spirit sense. When the night fell, the pills were almost completed. Wisps of pill fragrance lingered outside the bamboo house. Outside the bamboo house, the white-robed female ghost and the red-robed female ghost arrived at the appointed time to monitor Ning Fan. However, as soon as they arrived outside the bamboo house, they were deeply captivated by the pill fragrance coming from the bamboo house. It smells so good. Could it be that Zhou Ming is concocting pills? Oh my god. He actually knows how to concoct pills. I just don't know what revolution pill he is concocting. It's so fragrant. It can't be a third revolution pill, right? If the white-robed female ghost had eyes, her eyes would be shooting out stars. How is that possible? That Zhou Ming is just a rascal with a low cultivation base. He only knows how to make girls happy. Even if he knows how to concoct pills, he can only concoct a second revolution pill. That's amazing. The red-robed female ghost curled her lips slightly, but her blood-red eyes were still looking at the bamboo house. A wisp of pill fragrance wafted out. The wound on her lower abdomen that would never heal began to grow flesh. Her expression was mocking, but her heart was extremely shocked. What kind of pill is that Zhou Ming concocting? Just a wisp of pill fragrance can actually make my wound show signs of healing. The sound of the lid of the cauldron was heard. The hearts of the 2 women rose to their throats at the same time. The pill was done. Don't you want to come in and see what kind of pill I have concocted? Chapter 68. Being invited into the house, the white-robed female ghost blushed while the red-robed female ghost spat in annoyance. What tricks does this Zhou Ming want to play this time? Although his tone was fierce, the red-robed female ghost did not feel a trace of hostility from his tone. Last night, Ning Fan's tone was easygoing, but there was a trace of pretentiousness in it. Tonight, however, Ning Fan's tone was like that of a friend. The red-robed female ghost was used to the fickleness of the world, so she was very sensitive to a person's tone. It seemed like Ning Fan would not harm her sisters tonight. If that was the case, there was no harm in going in to have a look. She also wanted to know what kind of pill Ning Fan concocted. If it could cure her injuries, then she would snatch it. On the other hand, the white-robed female ghost tiptoed as she was embarrassed to enter Ning Fan's house. "Sister Hong Hong, let's not go in. I am afraid." The white-robed female ghost pulled the red-robed female ghost's sleeve and begged. "What are you afraid of? He won't eat you." "Wait, who asked you to tell him my name?" The red-robed female ghost was annoyed. She gently knocked the white-robed female ghost's forehead and forcefully pulled her into the house. The house was still decorated by the medical officer Huang Xie. However, Ning Fan had tidied up the pills and bottles, which was completely different from Huang Xie's sloppy habits. In her heart, the red-robed female ghost had a higher opinion of Ning Fan. The tidiness of the house meant that Ning Fan was a meticulous person with a heart of stone. The more detailed a person was, the more they could see a person's character. The red-robed female ghost's eyes met Ning Fan's teasing eyes. She had a fiery temper, so she did not shy away from Ning Fan's teasing eyes. Instead, she gave Ning Fan an evil smile. However, when she smiled, more blood flowed out of her eyes. There was no beauty to it, only terror. Miss Hong Hong's smile is indeed different from the others. I have seen countless beauties, but it was rare for a smile to leave such a deep impression on me. Ning Fan was obviously teasing her, but there was no hint of disgust on his face. This made the red-robed female ghost unable to get angry even though she was teased by Ning Fan. After all, there was no man who would tease her normally. However, she still did not want him to call her name. There was no reason for it, it was just that he was unwilling. "Don't call me Miss Hong Hong. Do I know you that well? Call me Ning Hong Hong. Your surname is Ning." Ning Fan was startled. This red-clothed female ghost was from the same family as him. "What? Are you dissatisfied with my surname?" Ning Hong Hong pointed her sharp and blood-red long fingernails at Ning Fan's with a hint of resentment. "I wouldn't dare. I just think that Miss Hong Hong's name is very pleasant to the ear. Ning Hong Hong. It's better to be red than white. I think Miss Hong Hong must be a sentimental person." Ning Fan's praise made Ning Hong Hong extremely happy. Gradually, she found Ning Fan's more pleasing to her eyes. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the white-robed female ghost again. He found it slightly funny. This white-robed female ghost was really afraid of strangers. Could it be that she was a young lady who didn't go out of her boudoir when she was alive? However, the more he looked at the female ghost, the more he felt that he had seen her somewhere before. A strange sense of familiarity welled up in his heart. A female corpse. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He finally understood why he instinctively felt less hostility when he saw the red-clothed and white-robed females. Not only did the two females' characters suit his taste, more importantly, the appearance of the white-robed female ghost was somewhat similar to the female corpse in the green coffin. Could she be the soul of the female corpse? No, it shouldn't have anything to do with the female corpse. The aura doesn't look like it. Ning Fan muttered in his heart, dispelling the absurd thought. He shook his head and asked Ning Hong Hong with a smile. "Miss Hong Hong, you are just like your name. I wonder what is the name of this white-robed fairy?" "Her name is..." The moment Ning Hong Hong opened her mouth, the white-robed female ghost covered her mouth and begged. "Sister, don't tell him." "All right, sister will never tell him. Your name is Mu Weiliang." Ning Hong Hong tried to hold back her laughter. Sister, you are the best. You mustn't tell him." The white-robed female ghost slightly trembled. After listening to the conversation between the two females, Ning Fan couldn't hold back his laughter anymore. Ever since he started cultivating the devil path, he hadn't laughed so easily. Mu Weiliang, a good name. Don't admire Chun Muan, only admire Wei-liang. I like this name. As soon as Ning Fan's voice faded, the white-robed female ghost immediately shrieked with her mouth wide open in disbelief. You! How do you know my name, stupid, dull, natural silliness? This girl was very interesting, silly and adorable. Ning Honghong, Mu Wei-liang. Ning Fan had never thought that these two females, who were closely related to his life, would meet each other in such a strange way. It was hard to describe fate. He still wanted to say something, but Ning Honghong couldn't wait any longer. She cut off Ning Fan's words and stared at the pill bottle in Ning Fan's hand, licking her lips lightly. Zhou Ming, what revolution pill did you concoct? At this moment, Ning Honghong was so close to Ning Fan. The medicinal fragrance was even thicker. The medicinal fragrance really had a miraculous healing effect on the wound on her lower abdomen. Could it be that this Zhou Ming was really concocting a third revolution pill? She took a deep breath and looked at Ning Fan's eyes with a hint of anticipation. No girl would be willing to have a scar on their body. Not to mention that the scar was a bloody hole that penetrated through her lower abdomen. Third revolution. Mu Wei-liang exclaimed softly after hearing Ning Fan's words. Ning Honghong's blood-red eyes revealed a fiery light. She endured the heat and tried to speak in a calm tone. What, medicinal effect? Blood healing pill, a third revolution pill. It specialized in healing body defects. It can be used for both the mortal body and the ghost body. This pill was specially concocted for you, Miss Honghong. Ning Fan shook his head and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Ning Honghong was too impatient. If he didn't say that the pill was for her, he was afraid that Ning Honghong would forcefully snatch the pill from him the next moment. There had never been a woman who had written the word want all over her face so straightforwardly. Concocted for me? What do you mean? Ning Honghong was slightly stunned and looked at Ning Fan in confusion. She originally wanted to snatch the pill, but it was no longer necessary now. Because Ning Fan had already thrown the pill into her palm. And yours, Wei-liang. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out another bottle containing 2 regaining sight pills. He stood up, held Mu Wei-liang's palm and placed it on her palm. Ning Fan didn't think that this action was inappropriate. He still unconsciously regarded Mu Wei-liang as the female corpse in the green coffin, the woman who had a night of pleasure with him. However, this was Mu Wei-liang's first time being held by a man. She was so embarrassed that she stuttered and couldn't speak. Her delicate body was trembling and she forgot to struggle free. Ning Fan let go of her hand at the right time. She then regained her composure. She was still slightly out of breath and said in a low voice. Don't call my name directly, it's not good, okay, Wei-liang. Thank you. The naive girl obviously didn't realize that she was still called Wei-liang. Ning Fan didn't give any explanation after giving the 2 pills to them. Instead, he continued to take out bottles and jars from his storage pouch and placed them on the table. Each of them was a peerless poison that was priceless. At this moment, Ning Honghong couldn't hold back anymore. I'm asking you, what do you mean by this? Also, what do you want to do by taking out these poisons? Poison us to death. Have you ever seen poison in front of the enemy? Besides, we aren't enemies. I'm going to cure your injuries and remove the seal on you too. You saved us to achieve your purpose of coming to Green Clan. Ning Honghong was straightforward. She had experienced the ups and downs of the world. She could feel that Ning Fan didn't seem to be lying. However, she and Ning Fan were neither relatives nor friends. It was impossible for Ning Fan to treat her so well for no reason. It was even more impossible for him to fall for her beauty. She and Mu Wei-liang didn't have any beauty to speak of. If it wasn't for their relationship or beauty, then it must be for benefits. She was a straightforward person and didn't like to beat around the bush. Ning Fan understood Ning Hong Hong's character, so he didn't want to hide his purpose. That's right. I'll help you two to get rid of your ghost slave identity. What do you think? Ning Fan's smile wasn't fake. He believed that his good intention had been expressed enough. This Ning Hong Hong wouldn't reject him. About this, it depends on what I'm going to help you with. If I will be implicated and killed by you after I get rid of my ghost slave identity, then I'd rather be a ghost slave. Ning Hong Hong's expression was serious. She wasn't a rash person. She had to be clear about everything. Don't worry. I just want to steal something from Green Clan. It won't cause any big trouble. I just need the two of you to be magnanimous and let me travel at night. Even if I fail and die, I won't implicate you too. Ning Fan explained. It's just letting you travel at night. Even if you commit a crime, our punishment won't be too heavy. Alright, I'll help you with this small favor. Next, help me treat my injury. My lower abdomen has been suffering from tearing pain day and night. I can't wait to recover. Ning Hong Hong heaved a sigh of relief. She didn't ask what Ning Fan wanted to steal. Everyone had their own secrets. It was basic etiquette not to probe. Would Ning Fan tell her if she asked? This Ning Fan was just an early gold core cultivator. He shouldn't have committed any big crime. Ning Hong Hong admired Ning Fan's concoction skills, but she still ignored Ning Fan's cultivation base. She always thought that she could eliminate Ning Fan's with just a raise of her hand. At this moment, she could not wait to heal the injuries on her body. Mu Weiliang, who was beside her, was also eager to recover her eyes. Seeing that the deal was settled, Ning Fan didn't say anything else. He turned around and flicked his sleeve. A cold wind blew past, smoothing the wrinkles on the bed. The dust was blown away. Then, he turned back and smiled at the two girls. Alright, I'll treat your injuries now. Weiliang only needs to lie down. As for Hong Hong, take off your clothes. Don't worry, I won't peek. What? You want me to take off my clothes? Ning Hong Hong felt like a fly was stuck in her throat. She was very reluctant. But it was understandable. Mu Weiliang's injury was on her eyes while her injury was on her lower abdomen. In that damned, intimate place. Sister Hong Hong, don't worry. Zhou Ming said that he won't peek. Quickly take off your clothes. Mu Weiliang smiled innocently but spoke for Ning Fan. This made Ning Hong Hong curse in her heart. Won't peek. How can I treat my injury if I don't peek? Only a silly girl like you would believe such words to trick a child. Forget it. I don't have much charm anyway. It doesn't matter if he peeks at me. Ning Hong Hong gently gritted her teeth and began to take off her red dress. Her white and tender body was exposed. It was like the bright moonlight in the night sky. Chapter 70. Ning Fan and Chu Chen entered the second area. The jade shelves in front of them were filled with golden sense beads and various kinds of ghost magical treasures. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the sense beads. His eyes were burning with passion. If he could refine all of these gold core sense beads, when his eyes fell on a few ghost magical treasures, he was slightly stunned. There were hundreds of magical treasures here, but some of them had spirituality that surpassed the rest. Magical treasures with spirit. Without hesitation, he began to collect the sense beads and the magical treasures with spirit magical treasures. Chu Chen, who was dressed like a fisherman, didn't show any desire for the sense beads. Let's go to the third floor to collect spiritual herbs. Why waste time on these sense beads? As the great elder of Purple Clan, there were hundreds of sense beads in the clan, but they were useless to him. The only thing he needed was a large amount of spiritual herbs. He had already decided to refine the spiritual herbs to break through to the nascent soul realm and advance to the fourth area. Chu Chen didn't expect that these sense beads were good for a living person to enhance their spirit sense. After entering the third floor, Chu Chen still wanted to rely on Ning Fan's Separation Slayer sword to break the grand formation. Naturally, he wouldn't be calculative with Ning Fan here. Although they were going to split the treasury equally, he didn't want to share these sense beads with Ning Fan. Ning Fan didn't comment on Chu Chen's words. After collecting hundreds of sense beads, he looked at the passage of the third floor. His eyes flickered. The Dark Bird Bone King hadn't caught up yet, so he could continue to steal spiritual herbs. 10 breaths later, the third layer of defense was burned away by Ning Fan's sword. 100 breaths later, the fourth layer of defense was also burned away by Ning Fan's sword. Ning Fan and Chu Chen's actions were very fast. Someone might have just reported to the Great Elder of Green Clan that the treasury was robbed. The fourth floor was a warehouse that was shrouded in an icy aura. It was extremely cold. There were spiritual herbs that were at least 1,000 years old. There were even some 2,000 and 3,000 years old spiritual herbs. Almost at the same time, Ning Fan and Chu Chen's eyes moved. They patted their storage pouches and began to collect the spiritual herbs like crazy. The amount of spiritual herbs in Green Clan was astonishing. Both of them didn't care about the type and age of the herbs. They just collected the herbs like lightning. There were only a few rare spiritual herbs that were extremely important for Chu Chen to break through to the nascent soul realm. That was why Chu Chen asked for them. Young friend, this jade elimination jadeite is extremely important to me. Are you willing to part with it and give it to me? Little friend, can you give this 2,000-year-old woodwind grass to me? Little friend, this blood jade orchid. Chu Chen's tone did not contain the slightest hint of threat. Ning Fan's Separation Slayer gave him a great sense of crisis, but he could faintly feel that Ning Fan's hidden strength. Once his strength was unleashed, it would be a great threat to him. Therefore, as the Great Elder of the Purple Clan, his tone was extremely polite to a mere late harmonious spirit junior. If the people of the Purple Clan were to see Chu Chen, who had always been hot-tempered, talking to someone in such a soft voice, they would definitely be shocked. Sure, take it. Regarding the type of spiritual herbs, Ning Fan didn't have much choice. In other words, with his current cultivation base, he didn't need fourth revolution pills yet. Thus, he wasn't in a hurry. There was no need to quarrel with the old man over such a trivial matter. In the Green Clan's vault, Ning Fan had once again gathered all the herbs needed for the nascent formation pill. Although he was still missing 1 or 2 herbs, he didn't lack too much. After collecting all the spiritual herbs, there were still a few decent quality magical treasures in the 4th floor of the vault. 5 peak high-grade magical treasures and 2 supreme-grade magical treasures. The 5 peak high-grade magical treasures were golden, green, red, yellow and blue flying swords. They seemed to be a set of flying swords. When the 5 swords were unleashed at the same time, its power was comparable to a supreme-grade magical treasure. As for the other 2 supreme-grade artifacts, one of them was a small pure golden bell known as the Eastern Ocean Bell, and the other was a blood-colored skull that seemed to be refined from the skull of a powerful ghost, known as the ghost-suppressing puppet. Among them, the ghost-suppressing puppet was obviously of a higher quality and more powerful than the Eastern Ocean Bell. As soon as he saw this treasure, Chu Chen revealed a rare look that was even more fervent than when he first saw the 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs. On the contrary, Ning Fan's eyes swept across the 5 colored flying swords and was slightly surprised. Then, his eyes fell on the Eastern Ocean Bell. He seemed to have noticed something. A trace of astonishment could be seen in his eyes. I want the Eastern Ocean Bell. I want the ghost-suppressing puppet. Both of them spoke at the same time. When they realized that they had no conflict of interest, Chu Chen laughed while Ning Fan's eyes relaxed. All right, little friend will take the Eastern Ocean Bell and I will take the ghost-suppressing puppet. As for the 5 flying swords, I have no use for them. I will also give them to you. Chu Chen wasn't being generous. The ghost-suppressing puppet actually had a great origin. It was refined from the skull of a spirit-severing ghost. If he had this item, he would have a chance to advance to the spirit-severing realm. Of course, this chance was only effective for ghosts. It was useless for Ning Fan. This item was much more precious than the Eastern Ocean Bell. Chu Qin gave the 5 flying swords to Ning Fan. The two of them divided the treasures equally. Ning Fan naturally wouldn't refuse the elder's good intention. He easily destroyed the 5 elemental flying swords and the defensive formation of the Eastern Ocean Bell and took the 2 treasures. On the other hand, Chu Qin couldn't break the defensive formation of the ghost-suppressing puppet after a few twists and turns. He smiled helplessly and looked at Ning Fan with embarrassment. "Little friend, can you help me break this formation?" The dignified great elder of the Purple Clan was begging a harmonious spirit junior. However, Chu Qin didn't feel ashamed at all. Ning Fan had the strength to make him beg. Sure. Ning Fan waved his separation slayer and helped Chu Qin to break the formation of the ghost-suppressing puppet. Whether it was the 5 elemental flying swords or the Eastern Ocean Bell, Ning Fan couldn't control them with his current magical power. However, what Ning Fan cared about wasn't the Eastern Ocean Bell itself, but the ancient inscriptions carved on the small bell. According to the memories of the ancient Chaos Great Emperor, the inscriptions seemed to be some kind of demon language, but even the ancient Chaos Great Emperor couldn't recognize most of them. Although he didn't know the meaning of the ancient inscriptions, Ning Fan could faintly feel that the value of these inscriptions was far above a supreme-grade magical treasure. Even if the inscriptions were useless, Ning Fan didn't feel that he was at a disadvantage. After all, the ghost-suppressing puppet was priceless to ghosts, but it was almost useless to him. This is great. Little friend's personality is to my liking. Why don't you come with me to the Purple Clan? Chu Qin held the blood ghost puppet in his hands, as if he couldn't bear to part with it. Thank you for your kindness, great elder, but this junior still prefers to be alone. Ning Fan cupped his fists at Chu Qin and left in a flash. At the same time, the ground outside the vault shook violently. The white skeleton giant stomped on the ground, causing the entire Green Clan to crack and sink 3 feet into the ground. A 300 meters tall giant was furious. He could sense that the human who killed his incarnation was hiding in the Green Clan, but he couldn't find him no matter how hard he tried. His anger was vented on the ground. The houses and bamboo forests in his path were all trampled and destroyed by him. As soon as Ning Fan left the vault, he immediately felt an extremely powerful spirit sense sweeping across his body. However, he remained calm and immediately used the power of his incarnation to conceal his yang qi, not revealing his identity. Since he had achieved his goal, there was no need for him to be entangled with the Bone Sovereign. The chaos in the Green Clan was the best time for him to fish in troubled waters and leave the clan. He believed that no one would notice him. He went straight back to the bamboo house. There were countless ghosts with evil intentions in the Green Clan. He wasn't one of them. In the night sky, the angry roar of the Bone Sovereign's incarnation could be heard. It made the experts of the Green Clan tremble with fear, but none of them dared to stop the Bone Sovereign. Human, get the hell out here. Outside the bamboo house, Ning Fan pondered and decided to bid farewell to the 2 girls. However, when he returned to the bamboo house, he found that the 2 girls were nowhere to be found. It was impossible for the 2 girls to sleep soundly when the Bone Sovereign caused such a huge commotion. He was afraid that the 2 girls had already escaped from the Green Clan when they woke up. After all, they weren't injured or enslaved. There was no need for them to stay in the Green Clan anymore. However, Ning Fan couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Didn't the 2 girls wait for his return when they escaped? Forget it. It's just a chance meeting. He shook his head and left the Green Clan stealthily. However, when the escaping light flew out of the Green Clan's territory and flew past the Green Ghost River, it stopped abruptly. What he saw was 2 graceful girls, one white and the other red, standing by the riverside as if they were waiting for something. If they weren't Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong, who else could they be? Why are you two here? Ning Fan descended and smiled faintly. Waiting for you. Initially, I wanted to escape during the chaos, but Sister Weiliang wouldn't leave no matter what. She insisted on waiting for you. She said that you would leave the Green Clan after you finished stealing and settling your matters. It seems like Sister Weiliang's guess is right. Why? Do you want to go with me? All right. I've stolen a lot of things and I need a place for seclusion. Both of you, do me a favor and protect me. Che, dream on. Ning Honghong raised her head and didn't refuse. As for Mu Weiliang, she smiled shyly when she saw that Ning Fan wanted to go with them. All right. I'll protect you. 3 rays of light gradually disappeared into the night sky. When the sun rose, Bone Emperor searched the entire Green Clan but couldn't find the whereabouts of the human. He was furious and made a decision after making a fuss. Humph. Since my clone can't find you, I'll send my true self here. As long as you still have my bone, even if my spirit sense isn't in it, I can still use the bone searching technique to find your whereabouts. The furious Bone Emperor left the 3rd region and returned to the 7th region. No one dared to stop him. After Bone Emperor left, the great elder of Green Clan, Qinglingshan, heaved a sigh of relief. However, before he could heave a sigh of relief, he immediately discovered something even worse. Impossible. How could the spiritual herbs in the vault be looted? Who did it? In the clan hall, Qinglingshan was furious, glaring at the 5 gold core experts. Including Chu Han, they were the ones who attacked the vault during the chaos. He already knew that Chu Han and the others had ulterior motives towards the vault. However, he never thought that Chu Han and the others had the ability to loot the vault. The nascent realm grand formation wasn't something that Chu Han and the others could break in a short time. Who did it? Qinglingshan was so angry that his injury was aggravated. The pain made him frown like an angry lion. Reporting to the Great Elder, it's Zhou Ming and Chu Chen. Chu Han gritted her teeth and told the truth. Chu Chen. Zhou Ming. The Great Elder searched hard in his mind, but he had no impression at all. He didn't remember any peak Jindan stage expert called Chu Chen or Zhou Ming. Reporting to the Great Elder, that Zhou Ming is a new medical officer of the tribe. He's a human. A Golden Core Realm Master who committed the crime added. What? Human. Could it be? Qinglingshan's eyes were filled with anger. A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. He finally understood why Bone Emperor would be so furious and come to Green Clan. It turned out that his Green Clan had lured the wolf who offended Bone Emperor here. How could he be so stupid? How could he not be discovered when a human entered Green Clan? If he could discover Zhou Ming's hidden identity earlier, not only would he not provoke Bone Emperor, he would also have made a great contribution. A great merit had passed by him just like that, and he even caused the Green Clan to lose all the spiritual herbs they had stored. Chu Chen, this person is a ghost. He can change his appearance and name to make it hard to track him. Ignore him. Investigate Zhou Ming. I only want Zhou Ming. As long as we find this person, not only can we please Bone Emperor, we can also get back the stolen spiritual herbs. Pass down the order of the Great Elder of Green Clan. Use the Immortal Execution Order on Zhou Ming in the 3rd Formation Zone. How dare he plot against my Green Clan? I want him to pay the price. What? Immortal Execution Order. In the clan hall, several late Gold Core experts seemed to have heard something horrifying. Their faces were filled with shock and their bodies trembled. The Immortal Execution Order was a divine item used by the ancient heavenly court to execute the traitor immortals and gods. As long as the order was refined and branded with a trace of the aura of the person killed, the person would die for sure. Although the Immortal Execution Order that fell into Qinglingshan's hand was only a broken item, no one below the nascent soul realm could resist the might of the immortal execution order. Wasn't it too wasteful to use such a heaven-defying item just for a mere Zhou-Ming? After all, a token could only be used once. It seemed like Qin Lingshan was really aggrieved and angry this time. He was really determined to kill Zhou-Ming. Chapter 71. The reason why he came to this bamboo forest was to go into seclusion to refine the sense bead and break through to the late gold core realm. This quiet bamboo forest was suitable for setting up a nascent realm grand formation, winding path to seclusion. Last time, Ning Fan used hundreds of thousands of immortal jades to set up the void realm grand formation, Mountain River Reverse. Although the formation was successful, its power was far from being able to kill a void fragmentation expert. The reason was that although the formation eye was set up correctly and the formation diagram was complete, the immortal jades and immortal ores used to power the formation were too little. Using hundreds of thousands of immortal jades to set up a nascent realm grand formation was just right. That was why Ning Fan didn't plan to set up a void realm grand formation in the third region. He only spent 200,000 immortal jades to set up a nascent realm grand formation. It might not be as profound as a void realm grand formation, but because it was a complete formation, its power could even kill a late gold core expert. Bing Ling and Yu Ling hadn't fully recovered from their injuries and their combat strength wasn't high. It was better for them not to show themselves in such a dangerous place. As for the small sable, it used its medicinal power to break the seal and restore its peak gold core realm cultivation after wasting countless thousand years of spiritual herbs. He looked at Ning Honghong and Mu Weiliang with a hint of pleading and teasing. I'll have to trouble you two fairies to look after my life and death. Bah! You still won't tell me your real name at this juncture. Since you're a living person, you naturally can't be the ghost Zhou-Ming. Ning Honghong lifted her chin. Oh, sorry. I'm a little too immersed in my role. My name is Ning Fan. Ning Fan winked at Mu Weiliang. Mu Weiliang couldn't help but feel shy. Then, he smiled and began to set up the formation in the bamboo forest. Ning Honghong's expression turned strange when she heard Ning Fan's name. Your surname is Ning. She finally understood why Ning Fan was surprised when he heard that her surname was Ning. However, compared to the shock that followed, this little bit of shock was nothing. You know how to set up a nascent realm formation. When Ning Fan selected 216 formation eyes in the bamboo forest, he moved his spirit sense and the formation diagram appeared on the ground. Ning Honghong's face was filled with surprise while Mu Weiliang's mouth was slightly open. This Ning Fan really knows too many things. Not only did he know how to refine third revolution pills, what was even more heaven-defying was that he knew how to set up a nascent soul grand array. His bone age was no more than 17 years old, but his cultivation base was already at the late harmonious spirit realm. His spirit sense had even reached the intermediate gold core realm. At the same time, he was also a third revolution Dan master and a nascent grade formation master. Ning Honghong gently breathed in. This was the first time she looked at Ning Fan's face to face. She vaguely felt that she was wrong to underestimate Ning Fan's before. I've been dead for a few thousand years. Back then, I was invincible in Wu country and established the Ning clan in Haining. I was so glorious that I thought I had seen all the elites in the world. I didn't expect there to be such a monstrous figure like you in this world, Ning Honghong praised softly. When her words fell into Ning Fan's ears, he almost made a mistake on the formation diagram and fell down. You said that you are the old ancestor of the Ning family in Hai Ning County of Wu country. Ning Fan's expression was extremely strange. Ning Honghong whom he had taken advantage of was actually the soul of his old ancestor. So what if I do? What? Do you dare to be dissatisfied? Ning Honghong stretched out her long nails and playfully threatened Ning Fan's. No, I'm not dissatisfied. I'm just a little surprised. Ning Fan lightly coughed and put away his strange expression. So what if Ning Honghong was the old ancestor of the Ning family? At first glance, this girl was a virgin. She certainly wouldn't have any children and certainly wouldn't be related to him by blood. Why am I thinking about this? He shook his head and continued to arrange the formation. While arranging the formation, he asked about Mu Weiliang's background. He didn't know what this girl's identity was in the past. Sister Weiliang doesn't have any memory of her previous life. When I was patrolling in the Red Clan, I accidentally picked her up. Ning Honghong explained to Ning Fan. Mu Weiliang's expression turned gloomy when she said that she didn't have any memory of her previous life. Is that so? It doesn't matter. The memory of one's previous life isn't necessarily a happy one. It's fine to forget it. Ning Fan gently patted Mu Weiliang's beautiful hair to comfort her. Then, he continued to arrange the formation, which made the little girl blush again. It was a very strange feeling. Although it was the first time the three of them met each other, it felt as if they were very familiar with each other. Ning Fan asked himself that it would be difficult for him to encounter such a strange thing in his life. Entrusting each other's safety to a stranger in a strange place. Perhaps, they knew each other in their previous life. Ning Fan was able to detect the 7,000 formation eyes of the mountain and river reverse formation. Therefore, the winding path formation only had 216 formation eyes. Naturally, it wasn't a problem for Ning Fan. Ning Fan placed immortal jades and immortal ores at the positions of the formation eyes. With a sweep of his spirit sense, he connected the formation eyes one by one in just half an incense worth of time. The terrain was connected and the formation was completed. If other nascent realm formation masters were to see the speed of setting up the formation, they would surely be shocked. After the grand formation was completed, Ning Fan found a place with the strongest earth fire. He cut open the earth vein with his sword, drew out the earth fire and began to concoct pills. Ning Honghong and Mu Weiliang were sitting leisurely, watching Ning Fan's skillful concoction technique with an amazed expression. Profound Dark Pill was a third revolution pill. When consumed together with the gold core sense bead, it could purify the evil and ghostly power of the sense bead. The 500 years worth of pills in the Green Clan's vault was more than enough to concoct hundreds of profound dark pills. The only problem was that Ning Fan could only concoct 100 third revolution pills at the same time. He was afraid that he would need a few more batches before he could concoct enough pills. 3 days had passed. Ning Fan had opened 12 batches of pills. Except for one that was destroyed, the other 11 batches were barely successful. A total of 1100 profound dark pills were concocted. It couldn't be helped. Even if Ning Fan had the concoction technique of an immortal emperor, he couldn't guarantee success every time he concocted a third revolution pill. The higher the grade of the pill, the lower the success rate. The pills had been concocted. All that was left was to refine the power of the sense bead. Ning Fan sat cross-legged and adjusted his magical power. After half a day, he finally recovered to his peak condition and began to refine the sense bead one by one. The mental power of the gold core sense bead was too strong. At this moment, Ning Fan was so focused that he couldn't even hear the sound of the wind outside. There were still 7 days left before the end of the sect assessment. The winding path leading formation was a nascent realm grand formation. It could be set up by borrowing the terrain of the bamboo forest. Compared to attacking the enemy, it was more important for protection and concealment. The twists and turns were hard to find. In the past few days, the experts of Green Clan had searched the bamboo forest several times, but they couldn't find Ning Fan and the others hiding here. Ning Honghong and Mu Weiliang were praising the grand formation. On the other side, the great elder of Green Clan, Qing Lingshan, was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. On the 4th day, the experts of Green Clan had searched thousands of miles of the third region, but still couldn't find any trace of Ning Fan. Trash. A bunch of trash. You can't even find a single person. What's the use of keeping you? Qing Lingshan's late gold core aura swept across the entire clan. The experts in the hall felt a chill down their spine. Even the other late gold core elders had a change of expression. Great Elder, perhaps this person isn't in the third region anymore. He's a living person. It's easy for him to enter the fourth region or return to the second region. The second elder, Qing Hengxing, a burly man with a rough and cold demeanor, said. That makes sense. Qing Lingshan's expression changed. Then, his mouth curved into a sneer. Has the refinement of the immortal execution order been completed? Reporting to Great Elder, the refinement has reached the last step. But, are we really going to use this treasure to eliminate Emir Zhou-Ming? This immortal execution order is something that our Green Clan uses to deter the other clans. The third elder Qin Wuwei, a middle-aged man with a short beard, said with hesitation. Idiot. As long as we kill this man and gain the favor of the Bone Emperor, our Green Clan will be able to advance to the nascent Soul Realm. It'll be a piece of cake for us to break through to the fourth region. Qing Lingshan harumphed coldly. He disdained the short-sightedness of the experts in the hall. In the land of Nine Yin, the 8th and 9th region no longer existed. The Bone Emperor of the 7th region was the king. Who would dare to attack Green Clan if they could please the king? It was funny that these ghosts didn't have enough vision. No wonder they couldn't become the Great Elder. The refinement of the immortal execution order is about to be completed. Can you collect a trace of Zhou Ming's qi? Qing Lingshan asked indifferently. Reporting to Great Elder, the collection of qi in the bamboo building of the medical center has been completed. The fourth elder Qin Yun, a handsome young master, reported respectfully. Very good. Set up the altar and prepare to kill this man. Qing Lingshan flicked his sleeve and led the experts of the clan to an ancient altar. All those years ago, I'd once used an immortal execution token to annihilate the Fang clan's peak Golden Core Realm Grand Elder, causing the Fang clan to decline. I never imagined that I'd actually use the immortal execution token once more to annihilate Emir Zhou-Ming. He sneered. He couldn't wait any longer. However, he seemed to have thought of something and ordered. In addition, second elder, third elder, bring some people to the third region to search for Zhou-Ming. If the immortal execution order is activated, this man will certainly die. There will be 4 great sword shadows in the place where he will be killed. If this man is still in the third region, you can take back the spiritual herbs. Of course, if anyone dares to keep the spiritual herbs for themselves, humph. I still have 2 immortal execution orders in my hand. Qing Lingshan swept his eyes across. No one dared to show any dissatisfaction. In the grand formation of the bamboo forest, Ning Fan continued to refine the power of the sense bead. His spirit sense was advancing from intermediate gold core realm to late gold core realm. In just 23 days, he had improved his spirit sense to such an extent. If this news were to spread back to your country, everyone would be shocked. Just a little bit more. It seems like there are still 100 sense beads left. Ning Fan smiled faintly. He had only refined 400 sense beads and he was about to break through to late gold core realm. Soon, just a little bit more. I just need to break through this bottleneck. Ning Fan's eyes were like torches. He held his breath and concentrated, preparing to break through the spirit sense realm with all his might. However, at this moment, a sense of crisis spread throughout his body without any warning. His eyes were filled with anger and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. His spirit sense was scattered and he failed to break through. A force of backlash attacked his sea of consciousness, causing him to feel pain as if his spirit sense was being torn apart. He looked at his chest in shock. There was a bloody hole that appeared out of nowhere, but strangely, there wasn't a single drop of blood. Just when he was about to break through, an illusory sword shadow came out of nowhere and slashed his chest. There are still sword shadows. He stood up abruptly and waved his separation slayer palm. He turned around and blocked one of the illusory sword shadows, but the other sword shadow was hard to defend against. It pierced through Ning Fan's abdomen, leaving a bloody hole. Puff, Ning Fan's face turned pale. More and more sword shadows came from all directions, making Ning Fan tired of dealing with them. The two girls were originally guarding Ning Fan. Their beautiful faces turned pale when they saw Ning Fan's spirit sense failed at the critical moment and was slashed by thousands of swords. They recognized the origin of the sword shadows, which made them even more shocked. Immortal Execution Order. What did you do to offend the great elder of Green Clan? Why did he use this order to hunt you down? Ning Fan, let us help you. The two girls moved, wanting to help Ning Fan block the sword shadows, but the next moment, they were even more shocked. Dozens of illusory shadows of Green Clan were standing in the air above the sea of bamboo forest, attacking the grand formation with all their might. Don't worry about me. You two go and control the grand formation. Don't let them break it. Humph. Immortal Execution Order, Green Clan. Is it Green Clan that plotted against me? Ning Fan's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. He raised his head and saw 4 illusory sword shadows outside the grand formation in the sky, locking him down from all directions. Countless sword shadows came from the 4 swords. He was shocked. These 4 swords were very famous even in the memory of ancient chaos. 4 immortal execution swords. The 4 sword shadows seemed to have existed since the ancient times, locking the vast sky. Even though they were just illusory shadows, they still emitted an aura of vicissitudes and destruction. The air was mixed with a faint smell of blood. That smell of blood was formed by the blood of countless immortals and gods. The so-called Immortal Execution Order could actually transform into 4 illusory shadows of swords, using endless sword chi to kill the person locked down by the order. If it was in ancient times, it wouldn't be 4 illusory shadows of swords that could kill immortals and gods, but the real 4 immortal execution swords. Outside the formation, the second elder Qing Hengxing and the third elder Qing Wuwei led dozens of Green Clan experts to surround the Sea of Bamboo. They followed the orders of the Great Elder and searched the third region. However, they never thought that Zhou Ming would be so daring as to stay in the third region after stealing the spiritual herbs. Ha! After the Immortal Execution Order kills this man, we will retrieve the spiritual herbs. It will be considered as a great contribution. Qing Hengxing sneered and attacked the nascent realm grand formation with greater effort. His physical body was extremely strong, like iron bones. Each of his punches and palms could cause cracks to appear on the grand formation, causing the ground to shake violently and raising gusts of violent wind. Although it recovered quickly, the immortal jades in the eye of the formation were being consumed rapidly. As soon as the immortal jades were used up, the formation would be broken. Before Qing Hengxing finished his sneer, 2 beautiful figures were holding the immortal jades given by Ning Fan, replenishing the immortal jades in the eye of the grand formation. One of them was a lady in red. Her eyes were filled with killing intent as she controlled the grand formation. In an instant, thousands of green lights flew out from the formation and turned into pieces of sharp bamboo leaves. Like dancing leaves, they swept towards the experts of Green Clan. The nascent realm grand formation had the effect of killing. Seeing that Zhou Ming still had companions controlling the grand formation, the 4 gold core experts were instantly killed by the formation light. The remaining experts also suffered different degrees of injuries. Even Qing Hengxing, who had a strong physical body, had a bloody wound on his chest. He roared in anger, but when his eyes fell on the peerless beauty of the 2 ladies, a trace of lustful smile appeared on his face. The 2 ladies controlling the grand formation had peerless beauty that he had never seen before in his life. Good, good, good. I didn't expect that Zhou Ming still has 2 beauties to protect him. However, he certainly won't be able to escape from the immortal execution. As for you 2 ladies, the grand formation will finally be broken. Hee, both of you look pretty good. After breaking the grand formation, I won't let you 2 go easily. Tonight, I will let you two regret it. Qin Hengxing had a late gold core cultivation base. He was a rare ghost cultivator who refined his body. His combat strength was astonishing. As long as the grand formation was broken, he alone could easily subdue the two ladies. As for the two ladies in the formation, their beautiful faces turned pale when they saw that the two elders of Green Clan were involved in the pursuit. Ning Honghong's attack with the grand formation seemed powerful, but it was a sneak attack. Now that the ghosts were on guard, it wouldn't be easy to hurt them again. Moreover, the attack just now had consumed 1/10 of the immortal jade of the grand formation. How many more times could such an attack be used? The eyes of the two ladies fell on Ning Fan. Their faces were filled with heartache and pity. At this moment, Ning Fan's body was riddled with thousands of bloody holes. His flesh was festering. They were afraid that he wouldn't be able to withstand the sword shadow for long. What should we do? Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong looked at each other. They could see a trace of heartache and despair in each other's eyes. However, at this moment, a trace of anger flashed in the eyes of Ning Fan, who had not a single piece of flesh on his body. It turned into the determination to kill the Green Clan. Green Clan. I will remember this. After I break the immortal execution sword shadow, I will go and annihilate Green Clan. His words carried the killing intent of an immortal emperor. When it fell into the ears of the experts of Green Clan, including Qin Hengxing, they felt a trace of fear. What level of killing intent was this? Even the Supreme Bone King did not have such a murderous aura. However, this fear only lasted for a moment before it was suppressed by Qin Hengxing and the others. They weren't newbies who had just made their debut. How could they be scared away by a killing intent? In the grand formation, Ning Fan's eyes were filled with determination. He took out the third Jade Royal Dan. The time since the last time he took the Dan was too short. This time, he would have to endure endless pain. But Ning Fan had no choice. The immortal execution sword Qi, even if it was just a phantom, gave him a life-threatening crisis. Die from the pain or be slashed to death by the sword. He took the Jade Royal Dan in one gulp. His flesh was destroyed countless times by the sword shadow. The silver light in his bones was getting stronger and stronger. I am ancient chaos. Immortal execution sword shadow, do you dare to slash me? This time, he used the immortal emperor's prestige of the yin-yang locket. It made the dignified sword shadow hesitate for a moment. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He did something unbelievable. He opened his mouth and swallowed the countless sword shadows into his stomach. If I don't die, I will refine the immortal execution sword Qi. None of you will be able to escape. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.